The 1989 SO British Touring Car champion John Cleland was to face a much tougher task in 1990. The previous year, Cleland had guided the Vauxhall to the overall title from the lower classes, where the opposition was more frustrating than fierce. The odd departure from Class C to run alongside the Class B BMWs was proof of the Vauxhall's worth, and the SO British Touring Car title is always reason for celebration. But Cleland and Vauxhall knew that defending the title was going to be a lot tougher, as the championship was reduced from 4 classes to 2 highly competitive categories. For 1990, Class A would remain as the province of the Ford RS 500s, a class for cars of over 3 litres. But it was a transition year, en route to the championship being run to Class B rules for 2-litre cars. Cleland would contest that 2-litre class as Vauxhall put their Cavalier GSI against the BMW M3s.
I think the whole championship this year will be much tighter than it was last year. I don't think we'll have an easy run. It's brought everyone much closer together, the BMWs, myself, the Colt. It's going to be very tight, and I think this first round, half an hour, all the bull's going to stop. We're going to see who was telling the lies through the winter.
Certainly BMW had been doing a great deal of work in the winter, launching a concerted campaign to choose a squad of talented junior drivers to run alongside team leader and former British champion Frank Sittner. James Weaver, the man who'd battled hard against Frank the previous year, was helping on the Silverstone evaluation day, and Frank was looking forward to working alongside 3 of Britain's top young drivers. The last year of Class A promised all the excitement of the previous year, and that meant Gravett against Rouse. Fierce rivals and closely matched at the end of the season, it was Rouse who took the 1989 Class A title, but Gravett was determined to redress the balance. However, he hit problems before the season even began. The team losing its principal sponsor, and the future for Trackstar would hang by a thread through the first part of the season. Andy Rouse, the master engineer, still looked the man to beat, although his Sierra was carrying some damage after the first practice session for the opening round at Oulton Park.
I took to the grass at probably 125 miles an hour, so I just bounced and skipped across the field. Hit it quite hard actually. The car went in on the front right corner and then sort of flipped around and hit the tyre wall sideways and rolled up onto its side. So when I came to rest, I was lying on the side.
The opening lap of round 1 of the SO British Touring Car Championship at Oulton Park, and we're looking back from Rob Gravett's car at second place man Rouse. Battle is joined for 1990, and Murray Walker is the commentator.
Rob Gravett leading, Rouse, Walker, Harvey, Bristow, Mike Smith. On to Thruxton chicane, second gear, 60 miles an hour. Looking back at Andy Rouse in second position. Going up towards Druids. That's a third gear, right-hand corner at about 80 miles an hour. And as they go round Knickerbrook, Andy Rouse is challenging Rob Gravett, coming up to Druids. And Rouse is going through. No, he's not. He dropped back a bit. Underneath the bridge at Knickerbrook. Now they're at Druids. Gravett, Rouse, Sean Walker, Harvey, Bristow in 5th position, and Rouse is attacking again, and this time he does go through. And Harvey goes past Walker up into 3rd position. Tim Harvey, number 3 on the left. So it's Rouse, Gravett, Harvey, Walker, Bristow, rounding Lodge, up through to complete the lap. Rouse, Harvey has gone past Rob Gravett up into 2nd place. Rob Gravett goes down to 3rd position. It's Sean Walker 4th. Now we're looking back at Walker. Walker's harrying Gravett. He's going past. And Bristow goes through up into 4th position. Rob Gravett down to 5th place. This is Andy Rouse leading. The master leads. And now we're with John Cleland's Vauxhall Cavalier, and he's not at all happy. He's been passed by Graham Good's Ford Sierra, approaching Shell. And back at Druids, there's Kelvin Burt in the BMW, a superb 7th, leading the 2-litre formula in his first drive for the BMW Junior team, ahead of Frank Sittner and John Cleland there in the Vauxhall Cavalier. And that is the first race for the 2-litre Cavalier. And he's 3rd in class, John Cleland. There he is. Down to Cascades, a superb drive by 22-year-old Kelvin Burt. He won his place in the three-man BMW Junior team from over 70 applicants. He was by far the fastest 2-litre car in practice, and now he's driving like a veteran to lead the 2-litre formula. Losing very little ground to the vastly experienced Graham Good in his 560 horsepower Ford Sierra. And Burt's faster in the 2-litre, 260 horsepower ballasted and rev-limited BMW than last year's 2.3-litre, 320 horsepower BMW. And now the first race gremlins are appearing. Ray Arms out with his 1600cc Honda Civic. Rob Gravitt's teammate Mike Smith into the pits with the second Trackstar Ford Sierra. And a bit of confusion. Move up, he moves up. And it's a tyre or a suspension problem. And Bristow has caught his teammate Tim Harvey. He's closing and he goes through to second place. Lawrence Bristow, number 10, up into second place, ahead of Harvey and behind Andy Rouse. Ford Sierras first, second, third, and the rest in Class A. And Mike Smith gets out of the pits. A broken roll bar is the problem, and there's nothing you can do about that. Not in the race anyway. And where's Sean Walker? Because that's Graham Good up to fifth. Spitting flame and smoking. Well, over the line goes Good, but he's not looking at all healthy. And that's Walker. So now the order is Rouse, Bristow, Harvey, Mike Newman in fourth place, Good fifth, Burt in the leading 2-litre car is sixth, and now Good's blown it, literally. So Kelvin Burt will soon be in fifth position in the BMW. And that's Kelvin Burt. He is fifth overall now, and there is his teammate Frank Sidner, only just ahead of John Cleland's Vauxhall. In car with Sidner, out of Old Hall at 90 miles an hour, speed building down to Cascades. His ProDrive team have tweaked the BMW chassis over the winter, and it's going even better. Cascades, sixth place, 90 miles an hour, Burt ahead, up to Island Bend. And Kelvin Burt, there he is, leads the class on his way to Shell Hairpin. He's driving a fine, cool, first touring car race for BMW. But Mike Smith's race is over. Out of the Sierra, not looking at all happy. And so's Nick Wales. Spins off onto the grass, but he'll probably regain and get going again. Lights ablaze, the incomparable 41-year-old Andy Rouse from Warwickshire once again stamps his authority on the British Touring Car Championship. Rouse Engineering prepared the Ford Sierra Cosworth Turbo. Andy drove it, and once again it's victory for both. Mike Newman second, but here's Lawrence Bristow coasting and smoking in third on the last lap. Can he finish? Kelvin Burt can. Victory in the 2-litre class with a new lap record. And Bristow just makes it third and straight off the course.
What happened today was that the opposition all fell to bits. I mean, they've obviously had problems of some sort or other. I mean, they're all on the pace, so they're all a worry. Today we were lucky, yesterday we were unlucky.
Andy Rouse gets off to a confident winning start in the championship, and he hasn't done that for a couple of seasons. Mike Newman second, Lawrence Bristow limping in about a car's length ahead of Tim Harvey. Performance of the race, though, that debut 2-litre Formula win of Kelvin Burt, ahead of his team leader, Frank Sidner. This Donington round of the Esso British Touring Car Championship always lives up to its exciting potential. 1988, Win-Purse's Nissan battling Andy Rouse's Sierra Cosworth in the race that calls for compulsory driver changes over its 1-hour running time. 88 victory went to Rouse. 89, it was Tiff Needell sharing the driving with Lawrence Bristow, who scored the win that at last put Team Labatt's on the top step of the rostrum. The championship continues to command budgets that can rise towards £250,000 a car. Strangely, little of it has found its way toward Trackstar. If big backing doesn't arrive, Mike Smith and pole position man Rob Gravitt may have only a couple of races to run. Despite that, a gamble. Gravitt pairing himself for the race with a former World Rally champion, Stig Blomqvist. In the new 2-litre formula, last year's champion John Cleland continues to pit the Vauxhall Cavalier against the hard-charging BMWs. The car is no problem. The driver changes with teammate Chris Hodgetts might be more complicated.
Well, if you do the bottom one...
I'll do the bottom one, right?
And hold it out, I'll try and bang these two in. Okay? Yeah. Right.
The 2-litre formula is the shape of the championship to come, and the BMW Junior team are providing the future stars. Kelvin Burt on the left, an outstanding class winner in the opening round at Oulton Park, and Kurt Luby, who'll be partnering both Burt and the experienced and very committed former champion Frank Sittner. Class A pole position to the underfunded Gravett and Blomqvist, alongside the leading Labatt's runners Tim Harvey and Slim Borgood. Andy Rouse, Oulton Park winner, renews the partnership with David Sears. They won here 2 years ago. Further down, Thomas Mazzera, the Bathurst winner, partners Lawrence Bristow. And the leading 2-litre class runners, Frank Sittner and Kurt Luby, they've qualified alongside Mike Smith and Graham Hathaway on the 4th row. Round 2 of the SO British Touring Car Championship. Commentator at Donington, Murray Walker.
60 minutes of Donington's 2.5-mile laps, an hour's very hard racing. And Sean Walker in the Sierra Cosworth, third from the left, makes a real flower of a start to lead Rob Gravett's White Sierra. But Rob leads into Redgate. And there's Walker's car, but we're in front with Gravett. 120 miles an hour through the Craner curves. Down to the old hairpin, Gravett, Walker, Thomas Mazzera, Andy Rouse. And it's Thomas Mazzera, the Czech from Australia, if you see what I mean, ahead of us. Winner of the Bathurst 1000 in 1988, and yet to get the recognition he deserves. Now up to McLean's, and Sean Walker locks up. Mazzera in third position, but Andy Rouse is going for it, and cleanly through on the inside goes multiple British champion Andy Rouse up into third position. In car with Mazzera, and now we can watch how Andy Rouse drives, trying to catch Sean Walker ahead of him. Up to Coppice, 4th gear, over 100 miles an hour, out of Coppice, down the straight at 125. Gravett leads, Walker second. There is Rouse in third place, Mazzera behind him. Mike Newman in the Black Sierra is in 5th place. Then it's Harvey 6th, Mike Smith in 7th place. Down to Melbourne Corner. In car with Mazzera. And there is the gap ahead. Gravett leading, Walker second, Rouse locks up, tyres smoking. Third position, we're with Mazzera in 4th place, up to Goddard. And there they go, Rouse, Mazzera, Harvey, Newman, Mike Smith. Now there is Newman with Mike Smith right behind him. Mike Smith closing up and going for it, and he hits Newman. Newman off. Both of them stop. Sittner goes through, and 2 more BMWs, and another. Mike Smith has stopped. Mike Newman backing up. Well, what rotten luck for Newman, who went so well at Oulton Park. He's rejoined in 17th place, and Mike Smith looks as though he's not going anywhere. Old hairpin, Rouse third, Mazzera 4th, Tim Harvey number 3 in 5th position. And sure enough, Mike Smith is parking it. He's out of the race already. And here's a replay. On the left, Newman. Mike Smith very optimistic, going for it on the inside, missing it completely, brakes hard, contact, pushes Newman out of the way. They both stop, and Mike's race is finished. And look at Mike Newman on the right. He's blasted past Jerry Marney up to 13th place. Craner curves, 120 miles an hour. Bellum ahead of Mike Newman. And Bellum in the Sierra goes onto the grass. Newman goes through, up into 12th position, and at McLean's there's a terrific battle for leadership in the new 2-litre formula. Sittner in the BMW leading Cleland in the new front-wheel drive Vauxhall Cavalier. Kurt Luby behind Cleland in another BMW. In car with Cleland, the 1989 British champion in a Vauxhall Astra. This is the new 2-litre Cavalier GSI. Only its second race, and he's matching the BMWs. Into the chicane, Sittner, Cleland, Luby. Luby is one of BMW's 3 junior team drivers, and like Kelvin Burt, he's proving very worthy of the place. In car with Cleland, Melbourne hairpin, some 250 brake horsepower from the Vauxhall's twin-cam engine, chasing Sittner, keeping ahead of Luby. And there's truck racing champion Slim Borgood waiting to take over from Tim Harvey. Number 3 is Tim Harvey, following his teammate Thomas Metzera, who is 4th. Rouse on the right is catching Sean Walker, both of them in Ford Sierras. Both Andy Rouse prepared cars, and the ex-Sports 2000 champion from Elstree is driving a fine race to stay ahead of Andy Rouse. There he is. But can he stay ahead? Rouse is definitely gaining. McLean's, Coppice, there's Walker on the left, Rouse on the right. Rob Gravitt is still leading. We're in car with Cleland, the 2-litre Formula. The man from Peebles in the Cavalier is giving the 2-litre Formula leader, Frank Sittner, no peace at all. Luby behind, and David Leslie is 4th, just behind Luby in another BMW. Coppice, and Cleland takes the Cavalier into the class lead, past Frank Sittner. Terrific performance. And look at the way they're both going, underneath the bridge, down towards the chicane. And now Mike Newman is coming up fast in the Black Sierra. Mike Newman is with the 2-litre leaders, up from 17th to 8th. And this is Jerry Marnie chasing Carvel's BMW, and off goes the BMW. He recovers, but he's lost 4 places. And now look at Mike Newman, alongside Cleland's Vauxhall. Frank goes through on the inside, retakes the place. Down to 8th again goes Mike Newman. But he's got the power. There is Cleland. Sittner behind him, 2-litre cars. Mike Newman, of course, is in the 2-litre turbocharged Ford Sierra Cosworth. He's got some 550 horsepower. This is his chance to use it. And he's doing just that, down to Redgate, up to 6th position, past Sittner, past Cleland, and in car, Cleland is angry about something, himself, I think. The chicane, and Walker and Rouse are still battling for 2nd position, behind Rob Gravitt. But this is it for Andy Rouse. Cleanly up to 2nd at Melbourne Hairpin. Is he? Up alongside. Sean Walker on the left. Andy Rouse has got the inside position. He should get through here. And he does it. Rouse is 2nd. Walker goes down into 3rd position. But he fights back. He's got the momentum. He's got the inside line at Goddard. Rear tyres smoke a bit. They're going round absolutely together. Terrific stuff this. But Sean Walker is back in 2nd place as they go down towards Redgate. And this time, Andy Rouse has got the inside line. And if Walker doesn't move across, Andy will go up to 2nd. And he does just that. 550 horsepower, and he's using every one of them. But David Carvel isn't using any of them. Some sort of trouble with the BMW. Up comes the engine cover. David Ferret's about inside, but there's 4 cars chasing for the 2-litre honours. Cleland is back in the lead of the class. Sittner is 2nd. Then it's Kurt Luby, and behind him is the talented Scotsman, David Leslie. On go Cleland's brake lights. Sittner comes right up alongside the Vauxhall. Cleland holds the inside line, puts the power down, front wheel drive. Sittner's got rear wheel drive in the BMW, doesn't seem to make much difference here. Now up to Goddard, and Sittner attacks. He's bobbing about left and right, but there's no way through. Cleland leads out of the corner. Now down to Redgate, and the new Vauxhall Cavalier is sensational. It's showing the BMWs the way. Down to Redgate. Sittner attacks again. And he goes through on the inside. Frank Sittner leads the 2-litre Formula of the ProDrive team. Cheer! Craner curves. 4 cars, 1,000 horsepower. Sittner leading the class, then Cleland, Luby and Leslie in the privately owned BMW. The RAC's new British 2-litre Formula really works, and Cleland's attacking Sittner again. BMW versus Vauxhall. We're with Cleland. Sittner ahead. But this time, Frank looks as though he's going to stay there. Frank Sittner, the British Touring Car Champion of 1988, leads the 2-litre class in his BMW from Cleland's Vauxhall. And Tim Harvey is in trouble in his Ford Sierra. He was 4th, right up with Sean Walker, but now he is obviously on his way out. And look at the 2 litres climbing the curbs. Sittner, Cleland, Luby, Leslie. This is touring car racing. And there's Kelvin Burt with the radio earpiece in place, getting ready to take over from Kurt Luby. In, says the board, but Tim Harvey is out, mountaineering his way back to the pits. And whoops, Cleland really swipes the curbs at 90 miles an hour. Graunch, something has broken. Something's broken. There goes Luby up to the class second. Well, there's the BMW. And there, past the Vauxhall, goes Leslie up to third. The Cavalier is kaput, and he's touring in. Well, what rotten luck after such a terrific run. John Cleland out of the race, fine drive. More to come, I'm sure. Now, here's a replay. Up to the old hairpin. Really quick. Curb right. Curb left. Fishing for the gears, and there is no drive. Nothing to come. Into the pits comes Thomas Metsera to hand over to Lawrence Bristow. 8 seconds from stop to go, including doing up the seat belts. That is a nice one, and they haven't even lost their 4th place. So now Lawrence Bristow builds up to race pace. He won last year with Tiffany Dell. Kurt Luby comes in, second in the 2-litre class. And his junior teammate, Kelvin Burt, takes over. Into the left-hand drive car. Bit of trouble with the seat belts. 12 seconds, 4 seconds longer than Metsera and Bristow. Out of the pits goes Burt. His car was 6th before the stop, and now it is 8th. And 3rd in class behind Sittner and Leslie. Kurt Luby takes a well-earned drink. And sadly, John Cleland's race is over. And there in the white, unsponsored Sierra is race leader Rob Gravitt. No problem. So what's wrong, John Cleland?
There is an offside, a near side drive shaft is broken. Is there anybody out there? There's a near side drive shaft broken.
Well, keep off the curbs then, John. Now, Rob Gravitt, number 11, leads, but he's yet to make his pit stop, and number 1, Andy Rouse, is second, and he is yet to stop too. Behind him, 56, Kelvin Burt, just starting his stint, and Andy is coming in. Shoulder harness off, ready for a quick exit. Into the pit lane. Stop right here, Andy. And he does it. Rouse out. David Sears in. And as Sears gets ready to leave, Jerry Marnie's coming in his BMW. And there's Sears leaving. And now we're with David Sears, son of BRDC's great saloon car champion Jack Sears. David's down to 3rd after his stop, behind Rob Gravitt and Sean Walker. Into Redgate with half the race still to go. And that is the great Swedish World Rally champion Stig Blomqvist, ready to take over from race leader Rob Gravitt. And Mark Hale's Mitsubishi Colt is out. He expected to have gearbox trouble, and it looks as though he has. And, excuse me, I'm afraid you can't leave it there, mate. Race leader Rob Gravitt in, with Sittner behind him. And as Sittner goes in, we go in with Rob Gravitt. Gravitt stops. Rob out, Stig in. Sittner out, Kurt Luby in. Blomqvist out again, in the lead after a 10-second stop. And out shoots Luby, second in class behind Burt's BMW. But can Blomqvist hold the race lead? Gravitt reports on the car.
Lost a lot of boost after about lap 5. And it's making a noise, but the car just seems to be going Doing similar times. The tyres are just brand new still. It's really good, the cars. I'm so pleased.
In car with Kurt Luby, David Sears ahead as Kurt signals he's second overall. Both of them fairly racing down to Redgate, and the experienced David Sears is really motoring, making up over a second a lap on Blomqvist. But how's Frank Sidner's race gone?
Well, I got involved obviously with Cleland at the beginning, which was fairly time consuming. I would like to have had the clear run, but obviously if you start you're going to be mixed up with other quicker cars. So I guess that might have cost me in true terms maybe 3-4 seconds on the road.
Oops, that's James Shedd's Ford. It looks a bit serious, but he's still motoring. And second in class, in car with Kurt Luby. And look ahead, that's class leader Kelvin Burt in the other ProDrive BMW. And he's off! Burt's off! Not good. In the gravel trap at the old hairpin, and that's destroyed the ProDrive team's class first and second. But at least Burt's got the consolation of sharing a new class record with Kurt Luby. And it won't seem much consolation to him at the moment. So now, lap 28, and Bristow goes up to third, past Ian Flux in the Sean Walker Sierra. But look at this, Blomqvist is only 3 seconds ahead of number 1 in second place, David Sears, down to Melbourne. And Stig is going to be held up at the hairpin by those 2 BMWs. He's right up with them as they come out. He has to brake almost to a standstill. David Sears goes into the hairpin. Blomqvist uses his superior power to get past the M3s, but that will have helped Sears, and James Shedd's Ford is beyond help. And the chicane again, Blomqvist and Sears, nothing in it. But catching is one thing, getting past is quite another. Their cars have got virtually identical performance. Down to the hairpin again. Blomqvist, more used to rallying than racing, is really under pressure. With well over 500 horsepower under his right foot. Up to Goddard. Andy Rouse never got the lead, and he anxiously wonders whether David Sears can. Out of Goddard, into the last lap, and Blomqvist's equally anxious team shout, go, go! Well, he's doing his best, lads, and he's doing well. But poor Rob Gravitt can only sit and worry about the lead he handed over. He is worried. Craner curves. Sears with his lights ablaze to harass Stig Blomqvist. But Stig is sticking to the racing line, and if he does that, it's going to be very, very difficult for Sears to get through. What a race for victory after 60 minutes of action. Hang on, Rob, not long to go.
Last lap.
Yes, it's the last lap. McLean's for the last time. Blomqvist leads. Sears is second. There is half a lap to go. Up to Coppice at 100 miles an hour. Into it. Blomqvist gets out first. And if he gets to the chicane first after this straight, he must win. Only seconds to go, Andy, and it's going to be close. At the chicane, Blomqvist leads. Sears second. What a finish! Down to the Melbourne hairpin. Blomqvist is still ahead. There's only the run-up to Goddard after this, and then he's done it. Down to the hairpin, hard on the brakes. Blomqvist runs a bit wide. Sears is trying to go through on the inside, but he fails. Blomqvist is ahead. He's only got up to Goddard now. He's home. He's home. But he's lost it. Blomqvist lost it. Gosh! Sears is through, just yards from the flag. Blomqvist stuck on the curb as David Sears snatches victory at the very last corner, and Rob Gravitt sees all his hard work thrown away. Blomqvist recovers to finish a very unhappy second, but of course Andy Rouse is absolutely elated.
You couldn't have wanted a better finish than that, could you?
Poor Mike Smith. Both Trackstar Sierras out at the same place as Kurt Luby wins the 2-litre class of a truly memorable race. So, second overall at the end, Gravett and Blomqvist behind Andy Rouse and David Sears.
Heartbreaking moment for Rob Gravett at Donington, and acute embarrassment for rallyman Blomqvist. Last corner of the last lap, Gravett left wondering when the track star luck is going to change. Second place, not good enough for a team trying to impress potential sponsors and rapidly running out of cash. Especially encouraging at this stage of the competition, the standard of racing in the 2-litre class. As he arrived at Thruxton for round 3, John Cleland felt good about events at Donington.
There was a 4-car dice for 13 laps. It was clean. It wasn't like last year at all. There was no touching and pushing, and I have to say that there were a couple of occasions where Frank could very easily have given me a nudge. I was having to go through the slow corners much slower than he wanted to, although I was going through the fast corners much quicker than he could. So we had words afterwards, and I said it was great, you know, that he didn't touch me, because we bought a lot of body panels this year just in case it was going to be a bit like last year.
But upsetting the 2-litre balance of power is the arrival of Jeff Allam, the former touring car stalwart, who's planted his newly delivered privately entered BMW ahead of the works cars on a very interesting grid. Rob Gravett on pole, alongside Andy Rouse, Gravett's Yokohama tyres probably providing the advantage. Second row Tim Harvey carrying 2 of our onboard cameras, and the hard-charging Mike Newman. Lawrence Bristow, Sean Walker on row 3, Graham Hathaway on row 4 in the ex-Mike Smith car. Cleland, looking for his first win, headed the 2-litre class runners, with Jeff Allam proudly ahead of the rest of the BMWs, including Frank Sittner and junior team member Kurt Luby. A very big bank holiday crowd at the Thruxton circuit, round 3 of the Esso British Touring Car Championship. Commentator Murray Walker.
There's a lot of worried men on the starting grid because the combination of fierce horsepower, Thruxton's abrasive surface and a really hot day is going to cause massive tyre wear. But it's a terrific start for Rob Gravett's Ford Sierra with Tim Harvey right behind him, and Jeff Allam stalled his BMW. What a start! Looking back from Rob Gravett's lead car, Tim Harvey and Andy Rouse chasing us. Campbell corner, it's Gravett, Harvey, Rouse, Newman, Hathaway, Bristow and Walker. Out of the complex, Gravett, Harvey, Rouse, Mike Newman almost off. He tucks in again, it's Hathaway, Newman, Bristow. In car with Jerry Marnie, Cleland on the left. Graham Good in the Black Sierra, blast past Kurt Luby and Frank Sittner, and there goes Cleland. It's fast and furious behind the leaders, and they're coming round to Goodwood corner. It's Gravett, Harvey, Rouse on 3 different tyres. Yokohama, Dunlop, Pirelli. This is going to be interesting. In car with the championship leader, Andy Rouse, out of Village at 125 miles an hour, down to Brooklands, building up to 155 miles an hour. Out of Brooklands, down to Club Chicane, second gear, 70 miles an hour. Gravett in the white Sierra, then Harvey in the blue one. We're with Tim Harvey, the man who's rapidly becoming one of Britain's top drivers. And the 1989 British Touring Car Champion, John Cleland in the Vauxhall, is attacking the 1988 champion Frank Sittner's BMW. And Cleland is all over the BMW's boot lid as they come out of Brooklands, down to the chicane, the fastest part of the course. Cleland is trying, he's dodging to the left, he's going to try and get past Sittner before they reach Club Chicane. He's not going to do it. Sittner's got the inside line, and Cleland's in trouble. He tucks in between the 2 BMWs right up on the curb. That was a very close thing for John Cleland. He completes the lap. They go into Allard, 4th gear, 100 miles an hour. Up to Campbell, and when they get to Campbell, it's slotting back into 2nd gear. This is only Cleland's 3rd race in the front-wheel drive Vauxhall Cavalier, but he is really flying. Well over 300 horsepower from its 2-litre engine. The Vauxhall Dealer Sport team have got it right. And behind Kurt Luby, it's Jerry Marnie, Nick Baird, Ian Forrest, and Jeff Allam, up from his appalling start. Goodwood corner, and Cleland is attacking. He's attacking Frank Sittner. He's going to go through on the inside. Is he? Can Sittner hold him off? No is the answer. closer, and John Cleland leads the 2-litre class in the Vauxhall Cavalier. Gravett, Harvey, Andy Rouse dropping back, first, second and third. Goodwood, the 2 litres. Nick Baird, Forrest and Allam. And Allam is challenging, going through on the inside, taking Ian Forrest, closing up on Nick Baird. Now Jeff is in the ex-Italian Bugatti team BMW, and it's the only car in his class on Yokohama tyres, just like Rob Gravett. In car with Jerry Marnie, ahead, Forrest, Allam and Baird. Down to the chicane. He's closing on Forrest. The BMW getting closer, and Forrest goes up on the curb. Marnie goes through. He's touching Forrest, and Forrest spins. Forrest spins out. That's the 10-time Scottish champion, Ian Forrest. Well, it looks as though his race at Thruxton is effectively finished. He's going to rejoin the race, but well down. Now in car with Harvey, that's Gravett ahead in the White Sierra. And Tim, running second, only seems to have one problem, and it's called Rob Gravett. Chicane, battle for fourth, Hathaway, Bristow, Newman, and Newman's lost it! Newman's lost it! Bang! Straight into the new pit wall. Well, poor Mike Newman, second earlier on this year. Here's a replay. Now, was there contact? I don't think so, but Lawrence Bristow's on full left lock, and that is it for poor Mike Newman. Slams into the wall, back across the track, stops on the tarmac. They'll need to get the car out of the way quickly there. But Mike, fortunately, looks to be perfectly okay. And at the complex, there's Baird and Whale, and there's a spin. There's contact, there's a spin. Both off the course. Nick Whale continues. Well, he's got away well, but Baird has stopped. He's rejoining. He's lost 2 places already. Meantime, in car with Andy Rouse, and he's coming into the pits. Now, this looks like tyre changing time at last, and it is. Up goes the car on its pneumatic jacks. On go the pneumatic tyre wrenches. Off come the old tyres and wheels. On go the new ones. Andy gesticulating from inside the car. Down it goes, back onto the track again. Andy punches the accelerator. And out goes the Ford Sierra Cosworth. He rejoins in 11th position, out of the points. And he was leading the championship. And that is what heat, 600 horsepower and Thruxton can do to the wrong compound. Blister the tread and ruin the grip. Last lap, shouts Mike Smith to the unhearing Rob Gravett. There he is on his victorious way. The right car, the right tyres, the right driver. But without sponsorship, we may sadly be seeing the last of the talented Rob for this year. And this is the battle for third. Hathaway, Bristow and Walker. Hathaway, another fine driver who's grossly underfunded. His colour scheme looks like an ordinary road car. Look at it. Plain red and white, number 14. Ford Sierra Cosworth, and it's a Ford Sierra Cosworth behind him, that of Lawrence Bristow. He hasn't got a sponsorship problem. Now, Bristow is attacking, and Hales is off. Mark Hales off in the Mitsubishi, as out of Brooklands come Hathaway third, Bristow fourth, Walker fifth. And Bristow's going for it now. This is his last chance. There's Gravett, almost home ahead of Harvey, but he's absolutely safe. He's almost home, and Mike Smith bursts a blood vessel with delight as teammate Rob Gravett wins at Thruxton. Chicane, third Hathaway, fourth Bristow, fifth Walker. Can there be a change in the closing yards of the race? The answer is no. It's Hathaway in third position. And John Cleland's superb Vauxhall Cavalier is going to handsomely beat the previously unbeatable BMW M3s to win the 2-litre class. Ahead of Frank Sidner, Kurt Luby and Jeff Allen. And there they are, on their way down to Brooklands for the last time. And Jeff Allen can be proud of a fine recovery from a rotten start. So it's just into the chicane now, and there's a crash, collision. Luby hits Sittner, both BMW spin. Jeff Allen goes through into second place. Sittner and Luby recover, but it is too late. And there is Andy Rouse finishing 10th for 1 point.
And the last corner has a dramatic effect on the result, and on this occasion the fault lies with the over-enthusiastic Kurt Luby, whose mistake allowed Jeff Allen an unlikely second in class. The 2-litre formula order, Cleland, Allen, Sittner, but at the front of the field, Rob Gravitt from Harvey and Hathaway had proved his point to whatever potential sponsor may have been watching.
Now we needed some funds to run the car for another race. I'm pleased. Yeah, I'm pleased. I think we deserved it, to be honest with you. Thank you. But yeah, I'm pleased. Very pleased.
No doubting that. Gravitt claims third in the overall championship. Frank Sittner, despite his last corner mugging, takes over the championship lead from Andy Rouse, whose tyre problems were even greater. And with Gravitt and Cleland winning their classes with great authority, the championship looks wide open. Round 4 at Silverstone, and Tim Harvey in the Labatt Sierra gets the best start, leading the field through Copse. And behind him, Frank Sittner has made a storming start in the 2-litre class. Murray Walker once again.
On towards Maggots, 145 miles an hour. Tim Harvey leading. Then it's Walker, Gravitt and Rouse absolutely together into Beckett's. And look at Gravitt in the White Sierra. He's taking Sean Walker. Going through on the outside. No, he's not. He's down to 4th. Andy Rouse goes through and Sean Walker. Now we are in car with Rob Gravitt down the club straight, 160 miles an hour. And that is Rouse on the left. Gravitt stays ahead though, down to Brooklands, second gear, about 60 miles an hour. And Rob Gravitt is in second place. Andy Rouse is in third position. Then it's Sean Walker. And Rouse goes through. Andy Rouse goes through and up into second place. Gravitt is third, Walker is fourth, Newman is fifth, and Graham Good is in sixth position. Here they come, out of Bridge Corner. There's Tim Harvey, Rouse, Gravitt. Now we're in car with Rob Gravitt. Ahead of us, Andy Rouse, over 550 horsepower. Fifth gear, 135 miles an hour. Down into third gear for Copse Corner. So it's Harvey, Rouse, Gravitt, Walker, Newman, Good, and Lawrence Bristow up into sixth position, past Graham Good on the inside. And this early in the race, Tim Harvey has broken the lap record. 1 minute, 9.9 seconds, 98.3 miles an hour. There is Andy Rouse in second position. Behind him in the White Sierra, Rob Gravitt third. Then Walker, Newman, Bristow and Good absolutely together. Back with Rob Gravitt. Now he's making no impression at all on Tim Harvey and Andy Rouse. Into the left-hander and Brooklands goes, and Rouse loses it! Rouse spinning, Rob Gravitt goes up into second position, Sean Walker to third, Newman, Bristow and Good together. Andy Rouse stationary, so let's look at it again. The back of the Ford Sierra drifts out. Off goes Andy Rouse, on goes Rob Gravitt, and Rouse rejoins, but he's down to 17th place. He's got a big recovery job to do. This should be good. Meanwhile, in the 2-litre class, the 1988 British champion Frank Sittner in his BMW leads John Cleland's Vauxhall Cavalier there. He won his class at Thruxton. Jeff Allen's BMW is third in class. And here's Tim Harvey, out on his own. A superb drive. The 20 points he'll get for winning, if he wins, are going to come in handy. And it looks like the ex-karting champion has got it made. Out of Bridge, Andy leading the championship in 1990 in his class, but he's losing out to Harvey today. And here is Frank Sittner. And there goes Andy Rouse past him, up into 7th place, but Frank Sittner still leads his class. Rouse still no faster than Tim Harvey, who is leading. Now, in car with Frank Sittner, out of Copse. And look at Andy Rouse rocketing away in the Ford Sierra. Here he is. Harvey leads, Gravitt second, Walker third, Bristow fourth, Good fifth, Hathaway sixth, and Andy Rouse number 1 in 7th position and closing. And that's Tim Harvey, the race leader. Into the pits, he's obviously in trouble. I don't know what it is, but that's Andy Rouse taking Hathaway. But poor Tim Harvey, victory firmly in his grasp, but now into the pits and clearly out of the race.
120 degrees. The car felt fine, tyres were good, the car was going perfectly okay, and then all of a sudden temperature just shot off the clock, which is a pretty sure sign that the head gasket's on the way out, so I just shut it off rather than damage the engine anymore. But yeah, one of those things.
So, here come the 2 litres. There is Jeff Allen, behind him Tim Sugden, over the line. They're making a terrific race of it. The Cavalier, the 3 2-litre BMWs. Into Copse. Cleland, Allen, Tim Sugden. And at the end of the lap, Bristow is being caught by Andy Rouse. Andy Rouse is going to pull out from behind Bristow's slipstream. He goes through. Rouse goes up into 3rd position. What a terrific drive by the 4 times British champion. He's now 3rd, 12 points out of Brooklands. Gravitt has lapped everybody up to 6th. Behind him, 7th position, Sidner. Then Cleland, Allen, Sugden and Sean Walker in the background is coming up. He's 2nd overall. Through the new complex they go. Now look back and let's see if we can spot Sean Walker. There he is, out of bridge. Walker, he's driving an excellent race, and if he finishes 2nd where he is, it's going to be his best position yet in the SO Championship. Now he's lapped Sugden, laps Jeff Allen. He's up to Cleland, into Copse. So Cleland has got Walker right behind him, and we're with Cleland now, and there goes Sean Walker in the Ford Sierra Cosworth, lapping the Cavalier. Now they're coming up to Beckett's, and Cleland closes right up on Walker on braking, tucks up behind his boot lid, but now Walker can get that 550 horsepower down, and he does so. Down the club straight, powers away. Brooklands, Gravitt out on his own. But here come the 2 litres and Walker. Sidner, then Walker, 2nd in the A class, then Cleland, Allen and Sugden is trying to go through, and he locks up, hits the curb. Oh dear, he recovers, but he's blown it. Jeff Allen has got clear. Down to Copse. Frank Sidner is still unlapped by Andy Rouse, but he's not going to be for very much longer. There goes Andy, that's Sidner in front of him. And Bristow is past Allen. Lawrence Bristow, there he goes, past Allen, as Andy Rouse goes into Beckett's. He's still behind Frank Sidner, but he's coming up to the club straight, and this is where Ford horsepower will pay off. Here it is, we're with Sidner now, and there goes Andy Rouse, straight past him. What power, terrific. And Andy's getting it all down now. This is where he spun off. Not this time. Brooklands, Rouse, Sidner, Bristow, then Cleland, Allen, Good. Lap 23, and Rob Gravitt in the lead is starting to wind down, and that's Nick Baird onto the grass. Motor's on, but there's going to be a big job for the body shop tomorrow. Look at it. Andy Rouse is closing on Rob Gravitt, the leader, and Sean Walker 2nd overall, but neither of them look to be in trouble, but Andy is. There's a bit of trim loose at the back, but that should not affect his performance. He is charging hard. The car looks perfectly all right apart from that, but it looks as though Andy's going to have to be satisfied with 12 points for 3rd place. Well, that's not bad. So, Andy Rouse powers on. Sean Walker is getting closer all the time. There he is in the multicoloured Ford Sierra Cosworth. But Rob Gravitt is obviously pacing himself to victory. He knows exactly what the score is. He knows that there's just 1 lap of the national circuit to go now. Over the line, last lap, Rob Gravitt leads. Down to Copse. And that is Good Sierra. He was in 5th position. We're with Frank Sidner. And Good Sierra has blown a turbo just as it did in practice, just as Mike Newman, his teammate's car, did in practice. And John Cleland has got to motor through this enormous smokescreen. There he is, he's doing it, we're with him, and he's going to be very worried about Jeff Allen. Is he going to come diving through? No, he's not. Yes, John, you're still second. And meantime, into the pits comes Graham Good. 5th with a lap to go. Poor Graham. He does have the most awful luck. But out of the smoke screen, last lap comes Rob Gravitt, winning round 4 of the SO British Touring Car Championship of 1990 here at Silverstone. Walker closer, but not close enough. This is the last corner for Rob Gravitt in the absolutely plain, unsponsored Ford Sierra Cosworth. That's it, over the line. Rob Gravitt wins, Sean Walker second, Andy Rouse third, just 6.3 seconds between the 3 of them. But the 2-litre battle is going on for second right up to the flag. That's John Cleland in the Vauxhall Cavalier, ahead of Jeff Allam's BMW. We're with Cleland. Coming up to the last corner now. Jeff Allam behind him, but Cleland finishes second in class behind Sittner with Allam in 3rd position.
2 out of 2 for Gravitt. Sean Walker's 2nd place, his best touring car result to date, and a very encouraging class win for Frank Sittner after the BMW had lost out to Vauxhall in the previous round.
We were frankly surprised by the pace of the Vauxhall at Thruxton, so really we've brought forward our effort in a sense. And I think, we should be challenging very hard right through the season. Frankly, that was much easier than I anticipated. I suspect that the Vauxhall was having trouble on the slow corners. It was easy for me to pull away out of the hairpins. And of course at Thruxton there aren't any hairpins, so it perhaps indicates that the Thruxton result was something of a freak, I think.
But the championship now building up very nicely. Those 2 wins for Rob Gravitt, moving him to within 4 points of Frank Sittner, with Andy Rouse rather struggling to keep in touch in 3rd. The 5th round at Oulton Park in Cheshire, one of the most picturesque yet demanding circuits in British motorsport, especially on the damp kind of day that confronted the drivers. Vauxhall were doubling their commitment to the championship with a car for the former champion Chris Hodgetts. Minor problems meant it missed practice, so had to do a routine handful of laps to qualify for a place on the back of the grid. This is a rear-wheel version of the successful Cavalier, teammate John Cleland having achieved his championship position with front-wheel drive.
I feel at the moment the front-wheel drive car is a better balanced car. The whole idea of Chris driving the car now is that we get some race experience with it and try and develop the car within a race. I still think that the front-wheel drive car it has a better balance and therefore is quicker through the fast corners. The car is not quite so good as the BMW is through the slow corners, but what we lose there we more than make up for in the fast ones. So at the moment I prefer the front-wheel drive car, but I'll tell you after today.
The conditions, damp yet showery, produce the regular slicks versus wet weather tyre choice for the drivers. Much debate, although Mike Newman, second from the right there, has already achieved pole position in the Listerine Sierra. Andy Rouse and Tim Harvey qualifying respectively 2nd and 3rd. And in 4th place, the double winner from the previous 2 rounds, Rob Gravitt, having a really close look at the rapidly drying track before opting, like most of the rest of the field, for slick, dry weather tyres. So the intermediates come off, the slicks go on. Frank Sittner remains a little coy about his precise choice, but elsewhere on the grid, feverish activity before the cars set off on what is apparently going to be just one warming-up lap. Mike Newman has already set the field on its way. Sean Walker there drove so well into 2nd place at Silverstone, and the 2-litre cars leaving the pit lane. Full grid lineup, Newman achieving his pole position with one perfect lap that he never came close to repeating in practice. Rouse alongside him, needing a good result to keep his championship alive. Tim Harvey and the 4-man Rob Gravitt on row 2, Walker and Good on row 3, and Cleland once again leads the 2-litre qualifiers. Round 5 of the SO British Touring Car Championship, once again, Murray Walker.
For the first time in his touring car career, Blackburn's shoe tycoon Mike Newman is in an excellent pole position. Next to him, the redoubtable Andy Rouse. And that's Tim Harvey from Burford, 3rd on the grid. And now we're inside John Cleland's Vauxhall Cavalier, but John's got a problem.
Tell me when they go green.
And lucky for John, he's in touch with his pits by radio, and they tell him. but he's slow away. And there's a bit of a nudge from the back there. He's onto the grass. Frank Sittner goes through. And at Old Hall, it's Rouse, Gravitt, Newman, Hathaway, Harvey and Walker. Then the 2 litre cars. In car with John Cleland. Ian Forrest BMW ahead of him. Out of Old Hall, down to the fast left-hander at Cascades. And at Cascades, it's Rouse, Gravitt, Newman, Hathaway, Harvey, Walker, Bristow, Frank Sittner going through. In car with Gravitt, second. Rouse ahead. Round Island Bend, you can see a dry line there. It's been damp this morning. They're doing about 150 miles an hour as they go up to Shell Corner. This is where they are. Second gear, 50 miles an hour. Rouse, Gravitt, Newman. In car with John Cleland, and he's off. He's onto the grass. He's lost it. No adhesion, no way he's going to stop. Straight into the tar wall. I can't ever remember John crashing a race car before, and he's been racing for nearly 20 years. Oh well, back out, try again. What about the car? It sounds okay. Sounds okay. John fishing for gears a bit. Gets going and it looks okay. That tar wall really did its absorption job well. Druids, Rouse leads, Gravitt second, Newman third, Harvey fourth. Then it's Hathaway, Walker and Bristow together. Lodge corner. In car with Rob Gravitt. Down to Lodge at 130 miles an hour. Now round the corner into Deer Leap. Fifth gear, they build up to 135 miles an hour as they come out of this. And at the end of the lap, the track still looks damp. Rouse is leading. Gravitt in second place in the white Sierra. Then it's Newman in the black one. Harvey fourth in the blue Sierra. Round the right-hander at Old Hall, and Gravitt is really pushing for the lead. But Rouse has got it. This is Cascades. Put the power down. Up to Island Bend, the left-hander with the water on the left. There goes the cue. It's a blistering pace. Now, this is a replay of John Cleland at the start. Excellent 8th on the grid. Fastest 2 litre. Graham Good ahead of him. Gets going. There's a little bump from the back. Onto the grass. Frank Sittner goes through. Now up to Old Hall Corner, the first right-hander. Ian Forrest's BMW ahead. And it's all traffic. He's onto the grass again there. He's shaping up to try and get past Forrest. Coming down to Cascades. There's Mark Hales' Mitsubishi going through on the right. Now this is Cascades. Cleland coming up. He's going to take Forrest in a minute. He's going to bob out from behind the boot lid of the BMW, and he does it. And now he's going to try and take Mark Hales. There's another BMW in front of him. Out round Island, and this is where he's onto the grass. It's damp, there is no adhesion, his tyres won't hold, the windscreen wiper's going, here comes the tyre wall, and zonk, he's into it. Whoa, but up at the front, Andy Rouse leads Rob Gravitt, the 2 top men of 1990. Between them, they have won all 4 races so far, 2 each, very closely matched, into Fulstons. Second gear, 60 miles an hour. Now up to the crest. Down to Knickerbrook, the fastest part of this magnificent circuit at Oulton Park. Rouse leading, Gravitt second. Well over 550 horsepower from their turbocharged engines. And that is Netta Lindgren, the woman Swedish driver, out of the race, the leaders. And it's difficult to see how Rob Gravitt is going to be able to catch Andy Rouse and get past him now. Down to Lodge, 2 wins each. Here's the right-hander at Lodge coming up, and Gravitt is challenging, and Gravitt is through. Rob Gravitt goes through, magnificent manoeuvre, through on the inside to lead as they complete the lap, and the pit crew from Trackstar is overjoyed. Gravitt, Rouse, Newman, Harvey. And the 3rd and 4th men are still very close together. It's a clear track in front of Rob Gravitt. And there are the BMWs, the 2 litres, and the Mitsubishi. Marnie, Hall, Hales, Forrest, Baird, Whale, Chalmers. And now we're with Jerry Marnie. He's leading this pack. It looks peaceful when you're with him, but it's all action behind. And here are the leaders. No quarter. Rob Gravitt in the white Sierra leading. Rouse second. Mike Newman is still holding off Tim Harvey, 3rd and 4th. So now, up to Druids, the right-hander. Can Andy Rouse do to Rob Gravitt what Gravitt has done to him? Take him at Lodge. They're using different makes of tyre. It can make all the difference from now on. It's still Newman in 3rd position. Still Tim Harvey in 4th position. Then Sean Walker. They're all in Ford Sierra Cosworth turbos. 2 litres, turbocharged. Terrific power. And Gravitt needs all of it to keep ahead of Andy Rouse. There goes Newman, that's Walker. Now the non-turbos, they're close too. Marnie, Hall, Hales, Forrest, Whale, Chalmers. Into Dearly. In car with Marnie. He's leading this batch. And it looks damp. Yes, it is damp. He shows us where it's damp. Going out, and that's Cleland. Cleland locks up. He's done it again. John Cleland's done it again. And he's made a real job of it this time. Wow. Lucky he's got a reverse gear. Backwards onto the track. Bumper off. That's made the car a bit lighter anyway. Now, John Cleland has had virtually no sleep for a whole week because of all things he has had non-stop hiccups. It must have exhausted him. He must be furious. This is most unlike John Cleland. Now here's a replay. Out of Druids. Up into 4th gear. Down into 3rd gear. Lining up the car. Now the tyres are locked up. No way he's going to stop. In for the 2nd time. Here it is from the outside. And you can see straight in. And this time he really has damaged the Vauxhall Cavalier. Look at it. But amazingly, the car seems okay. And he's dragging a brake cooling pipe. Jerry Marnie. Winker going. He's touring. Jerry Marnie's in trouble. But now we're with Harvey, straight past Mike Newman into 3rd position. So, Marnie to the pits. I'm not surprised. Up comes the engine cover. It sounded a bit rough as he went past. Well, there's the BMW 4-cylinder engine. And here is John Cleland, that brake pipe hanging by a thread, and he's really struggling to keep up with the Vauxhall. Look at it. So there, 3rd, 4th, 5th, it's as close as that. Harvey, Newman, Walker, Marnie out of the pits. Now that engine sounds like old boots to me. Really rough, look at him prodding at the accelerator. They're all streaming by. Marnie rejoins the race. And it doesn't sound at all happy. Out of Dearleap, down into Old Hall Corner. Now the drop down to Cascades. There's Sittner in front. You can see there's not much of a gap between the 2-litre class leader and 2nd and 3rd. Here they are. Now up to Island Bend. This is very, very quick too. The course is drying out all the time. They're on slick tyres. Newman and Bristow. Then Newman's in trouble. Something's come off. Oh, look at the left rear. The same thing has happened to him at Oulton Park has happened to him at Silverstone. He has blown the left rear tyre. And that's rotten luck for Mike Newman as his teammate Graham Good goes through. Now here's a replay. Let's see if we can see what happened. Newman's car jinks, something flies up at the back. That's because the tyres exploded in the wheel arch. Look at the debris flying off. Bristow pulls out, Newman tucks in. And look at the back of the Ford Sierra and just look at that tyre. There it is, off the car, and no wonder Mike Newman had to come in. Absolutely shattered. He's got a new tyre on, he's leaving, but he's lapped. He's down to 22nd place. And here are the 2 BMWs battling for 2nd in the 2-litre class. In the blue and white one, it's Jeff Allam. He comes from Lee in Surrey. The man who won the TT in 1986. Been driving for 21 years. Terrific drive from young Tim Sugden, comes from Bradford. This is only the 2nd time he has driven for the Works ProDrive BMW team. Comes from kart driving and Formula Ford. And and he's taken to touring cars like a duck to water. He's attacking Jeff Allen now. He's trying for second in the 2-litre class with Frank Sittner not all that far in front of them, and he's through. We're looking back now from Tim Sugden's BMW at Jeff Allen's car. There it is on the left, up to Shell Hairpin. Now you can see what a BMW M3 looks like when it's doing at about 130 miles an hour. Look at those big wide tyres. Through Fulstons. Now we're coming up to the fastest part of the course. Nearly 140 miles an hour for these 2-litre cars. That's quite incredible. Up to Knickerbrook. The fast sweeping right-hander before Clay Hill. This is it. And there's Sugden, second in class. Jeff Allen down to third in class. And that is not a rebuilt John Cleland Cavalier, that is Chris Hodgetts in a second rear-wheel drive Vauxhall Dealer Sport Cavalier. He started from the back and he's being lapped by Rob Gravitt. Rob Gravitt goes through. Now we're with the race leader, Rob Gravitt, coming up to the closing stages of the race, up to Shell Hairpin. There is Andy Rouse. He's still only a second or so behind Rob Gravitt. It's been fast and furious for the whole race, but Andy Rouse cannot get up to Rob Gravitt, let alone get past him. Ray Arms in the pits. Looks as though his Honda Civic has got a problem, and so has Ian Forrest. It's busy in the pits. New tyres for the BMW. Gravitt leading. Rouse second, into Old Hall. They've both got to get past Frank Sittner. The lead could change here. Down into Cascades. Sittner, Gravitt, Rouse in second place overall. 2 wins behind him. And Rob Gravitt has got 2 wins too. But what's important now is what is going to happen as the 2 Fords come up behind the BMW at Shell Hairpin. There's Gravitt leading the race. Ahead of him, the BMW of Frank Sittner. Behind him, the Ford Sierra of Andy Rouse. And that is it. Here they come. Go through, says Frank Sittner. And they go through. Through Fulstons. Now up to the crest. Foot hard down. Terrific stuff, this. 145 miles an hour, but for Andy Rouse, catching is one thing, getting past is another. He has caught Rob Gravitt. They're up into Druids. Now on the way to Lodge, and in front of them, another BMW. Godfrey Hall, he is touring though. He's going to pull over and let them through, I think. Yes, he has. So, Godfrey Hall is passed. Frank Sittner has been lapped. Into Lodge. Through to complete the lap. And Rob Gravitt really needs this win because his Trackstar team need the money. And this is the last lap out of Old Hall Corner, down to Cascades. Rob Gravitt is really trying. Whoops, he locks up the left front. Andy Rouse right on his boot lid as they come up to Island Bend. That's John Cleland, still rolling, but almost last now in the Vauxhall, after all his problems. Last lap, last time round Shell Hairpin. Rob Gravitt leads, right behind him Andy Rouse. Marvellous stuff. Rob has done the fastest lap. 1 minute 38.7, 100.9 miles an hour. Through Fulstons, absolutely together. If either of them misses a gear or misses an apex, it could change the complexion of the whole race. There's not much of it left now. This is Knickerbrook. And that is a dispirited and exhausted John Cleland, gloomily watching the remains of the race. There's his Vauxhall Cavalier. Here are the leaders. Coming out of Druids. They're both very much in the race. And Rob Gravitt surely must win it. Down to Lodge for the last time. Into Deer Leak for the last time. I can't see how Andy Rouse can possibly get past him. He is not going to. It's going to be a third win for Rob Gravitt and the Trackstar team. It is a third win. Andy Rouse finishes in second place. And it's been a battle for supremacy every inch of the way. Frank Sittner winning the class and retaining his overall British Championship lead. Round the last corner, and there is Tim Harvey finishing in third place overall. Frank Sittner retains his championship lead then after, as ever, a super race at Oulton Park.
One of the best of the championship so far, but it completes a hat-trick of wins for Rob Gravitt, who's now taking a real grip on Class A. Andy Rouse tried everything he could in second. A lonely third for Tim Harvey. Sean Walker's having a good season, figuring well in the championship. Lawrence Bristow taking fifth, and a tough battle between Hathaway and Good for sixth. Hathaway coming out in front. But a perplexed Andy Rouse, 2 wins this season, but now Rob Gravitt has 3.
Andy made me work for that really right from the start. I thought I might have been able to pull out after about 10 or 12, lap 10 or 12. No way, he had me on my toes all the time. That was the hardest race I've had for a long time. It's hard work out there.
By contrast, a shell-shocked feeling in the Vauxhall camp. John Cleland claims he's never crashed a race car before, and here he's gone off twice in 3 laps. A couple of rounds before, Vauxhall were mounting a real challenge to the BMWs, and that challenge will surely come again. But now Cleland is slipping behind in the 2-litre class, and also he's slipping behind in the championship as well. On Grand Prix day at Silverstone, following the heroics of Nigel Mansell, it was round 6 of the SO British Touring Car Championship, and not many of the 100,000 crowd were tempted to head for home, because this prestige race promised to be the most competitive of the championship season so far. A 24-car grid, with on the front row Rob Gravitt on a run of wins that makes him the class of the field. But these are the 2-litre runners who are making most of the excitement. Defending champion John Cleland on the left here, with a bit of work to do to close the gap on the class leader Frank Sittner and the championship leader Gravitt. Gravitt on this occasion beaten to pole position by a storming lap from Andy Rouse, but Gravitt out to get his 4th successive win. Tim Harvey qualified the Labatt Sierra 3rd alongside Graham Good. Then came Mike Newman and Lawrence Bristow. Mike Smith found the backing to make a return to the championship. And then came the 2-litre runners, headed by the flying Vauxhall Cavalier of John Cleland, with Frank Sittner only 5th fastest in the class. So round 6 of the SO British Touring Car Championship, and Murray Walker saw them off the start line.
On the left, Andy Rouse. On the right, Rob Gravitt. 15 laps of Silverstone, and this is it. Rouse leads. A terrific start by Mike Newman from row 3, up to 2nd on the run into Copse. Copse corner, Rouse leads, Newman 2nd. Rob Gravitt in 3rd place. In car with Rob Gravitt, Mike Newman ahead, Andy Rouse ahead of him, up to Maggots at 140 miles an hour. Round Maggots, Rouse, Newman versus Gravitt for 2nd. Sean Walker is 4th, Tim Harvey is 5th. Out of Beckett's, in car with Gravitt, up to 4th gear. Round Chapel, up to 5th gear. Down the hanger straight at 150 miles an hour to Stowe Corner. Rouse leads, Newman and Gravitt together. Then it's Walker and Harvey. And Gravitt is going through. Gravitt up to 2nd, past Mike Newman, round Stowe. Now down to Club Corner. This is 140 miles an hour. It's Andy Rouse leading ahead. Up to 5th, down to 4th, 95 miles an hour. Out of Club, Rouse, Gravitt, Newman. And it's 3 abreast behind, look. And onto the grass goes Bristow, over the curb. And behind them, John Cleland's Vauxhall Cavalier is leading the 2-litre class from his teammate Chris Hodgetts. And now this is a replay of the start from Frank Sittner's BMW, 14th on the grid. It's a demon start. Past Jeff Allen, that's Jeff Allen's BMW. There's Kurt Luby's BMW, Frank Sittner's teammate, down to Copse at 90 miles an hour. Into the right-hander, Kurt Luby chasing. Now, up through the gears, accelerating hard towards Maggots, 5th gear, 130 miles an hour. There's Luby. And Allen, Jeff Allen on the right, onto Chapel. 4th gear, 120 miles an hour, down the hanger straight. Luby on the left, Allen on the right. Allen is breaking away from Luby. We're with Frank Sittner, and Allen is gaining. He's getting closer. He's getting closer. Don't touch me. And He has! Go away! Bang again, and he's through. Jeff Allen goes through, passes Frank Sidner. And Kurt Luby still chases. And at the end of the lap, it's Rouse leading, Gravett in second place, Mike Newman in third position. Then there's a gap. Harvey, Walker, Good, Smith and Bristow. Round Copse, down to Maggots again. Rouse and Gravett have broken clear. The battle is on between the 1990 winners. Andy Rouse has won twice this season. Rob Gravett has won 3 times. They're in the same type of Ford Sierra Cosworth, but they're using different tyres. And here they are, round Chapel, down the Hanger Straight. Rouse in the lead. Gravett in the white Sierra Cosworth challenging right behind him. Mike Newman is third. And now we're back again with Rob Gravett into Stowe. Trying for the lead, trying to get inside Andy Rouse, but Andy Rouse hugs the apex, accelerates away, down to Club Corner. Here they are, coming out of it. Just about together. Rouse leading, Gravett second, Mike Newman still hanging in there. Tim Harvey is fourth, Sean Walker fifth, Graham Good, number 15, sixth. Up to Abbey, the fastest part of Silverstone, 145 miles an hour. In car with Rob Gravett, down to second gear for the new complex at Bridge, into the left-hander. Out of it to start another lap of Silverstone. Third gear, fourth gear, up into fifth. Down the straight, on towards Copse. We're in car with Sidner. That's Luby behind and Godfrey Hall. But Jeff Allen and the 2 Vauxhalls are still ahead. End of the lap. Sidner with the blue strip. Luby with the red strip. Over the line. There go the 2-litre leaders. Cleland, Hodgetts, Allen. And into the pits comes Mike Newman from a fine third place. Now that's another bit of rotten luck, just like Oulton Park. It's obviously an engine problem. Mike Newman, very unhappy. More oil. And look at the 2 litres. Cleland, Hodgetts, Allen. The Vauxhalls first, second, and the BMW third. And Allen going through in the ex-Bugatti BMW up into second place in class, past Chris Hodgetts. Down the start and finish straight. Now, Hanger Straight, these are the leaders. Rob Gravett harrying Andy Rouse. There is nothing in it with the cars and drivers. Tyres are probably going to decide this race. And here they come, down to the right-hander at Club. Rouse, Gravett tucked up behind the Ford Sierra Cosworth, and now we're in Sidner's BMW, and that's Kurt Luby behind. And down the Hanger Straight come the 2 litres, Cleland leading, Allen second, Hodgetts third, Kurt Luby now ahead of Frank Sidner, and Godfrey Hall is 6th in the class. Bridge, these are the leaders. Rouse, number 1, Gravett, number 11 in second place, Harvey keeping a watching brief. Here come the 2 litres, and Mike Newman is touring, engulfed by a terrific 2-litre battle. Here it is, coming up to Abbey, chasing Dennis Leach in 8th position. Cleland, Allen, Hodgetts. The Vauxhall is beating the BMWs. Bridge. Now there's Dennis Leach. Cleland. Number 50, the British Touring Car Champion of 1989. Jeff Allen behind him. Then it's Chris Hodgetts in the second Vauxhall. Through to complete another lap. Past the pits, on towards Copse. Chris Hodgetts pulls out wide, up alongside Allen. But Kurt Luby goes even wider. He's going through on the inside. Kurt Luby, number 56. But here are the leaders. And Gravett is having a look. Watch the rev counter through the steering wheel as Rob Gravett changes gear. Now. And Kurt Luby is climbing all over Chris Hodgetts for third place in the 2-litre class. Look at it. Up to Abbey come the leaders. Andy Rouse is getting no peace at all from Rob Gravett. In car with Gravett. coming up to bridge. He's going through on the inside. He's through. They're going through absolutely together. They're touching. Andy Rouse goes on the grass. He pushes Rob Gravitt wide. Gravitt himself goes over the curb. And Andy Rouse keeps the lead, shakes his fist at Rob Gravitt. And some of the trim is torn off the Ford Sierra Cosworth. First and second, no change. Rouse still leads, but he's really under pressure. And Tim Harvey is still there, right behind them. Copse Corner, Rouse, Gravitt, Harvey. Over the line go the 2 litres. Cleland leading, Alum in second place. Luby third now, ahead of Chris Hodgetts. He's got through. Copse Corner, Cleland, Alum, Luby going for second. Kurt Luby going through. And he's through, up to second place in the class. Down to third goes Jeff Alum. Over the curb goes Jeff Alum. Oh, in car with Rob Gravitt. Now he's coming down to Stowe. Is he going to try again? He's been through momentarily, passing Andy Rouse, but it didn't last for long. 140 miles an hour, 600 horsepower. Down to Club Corner. Now up to Abbey. Rouse leading, Gravitt in second place, to bridge again. On the left is Gravitt, on the right is Andy Rouse. They are absolutely together. Is Gravitt going to try again? We're with him, he's coming up to Woodcote. Andy Rouse is on the left, he's disappearing. Rob Gravitt goes through and takes the lead. Rob Gravitt leads here at Silverstone. And Andy Rouse is down to second place. And Lawrence Bristow goes past Sean Walker, past Silverstone's magnificent press centre, and Graham Good passes Sean Walker to 5th. So Walker's lost 2 places in just a few hundred yards. The 2 litres at bridge. It's still anybody's race in the class. Cleland leads it, Luby's second, Alum is third, Chris Hodgetts is 4th. Now, what a great drive by ex-kart champion Kurt Luby. He is setting about class leader John Cleland. So it's front-wheel drive Vauxhall versus rear-wheel drive BMW. Down to Copse. Cleland, Luby, first and second in the 2 litre class. Alum is third. Club Corner, and Rob Gravitt is pulling clear of touring car superstar Andy Rouse. It's a great day for the Trackstar team and their Mount Tune engine wizards and their Yokohama tyres. Now, Andy Rouse is on Pirelli, Tim Harvey is on Dunlop, so it is a tyre battle too. And here they come, Gravitt, Rouse, Harvey. Bridge corner, end of the lap. Rouse still in second place, and in car with John Cleland leading the 2 litres, only just though, because Kurt Luby is right behind him, and no he's not! Kurt Luby goes through into the lead, and with a 150 kilogram weight penalty for rear wheel drive, Luby leads. Can John Cleland stay ahead of Jeff Alum? Well, now we are with John Cleland, that's Luby ahead, round the very fast left-hander at Abbey. And John Cleland will be making a maximum effort now to get the lead back in the class from Kurt Luby as they go up to bridge. On go Luby's brake lights. He's lost it. He's lost it. But he retains it. Incredible. He holds the lead, but Jeff Alum goes through, passes John Cleland. Alum up to second place in the class. Oh, down to Copse. Another lap completed. Over the line they go. And here they come at Copse. Luby in the BMW leading the 2 litres. Alum up into second. Cleland down to third. Hodgetts is 4th. Godfrey Hall is in 5th position. And now we're back again with John Cleland on the way to Maggots. Alum and Luby ahead. BMW leads. BMW second. Vauxhall in 3rd position. There they go. 4th and 5th, Chris Hodgetts in the Vauxhall. There he is. Godfrey Hall on the right. 5th in the BMW. At the end of the lap, Rob Gravitt is still leading overall, but here is the real battle. The 2 litres. Luby, Alum, Cleland. Alum ahead. 300 horsepower through the front wheels of Cleland's Cavalier is a lot of horsepower. Going into Club Corner. Luby in the front. Allen and Cleland absolutely together. Luby runs wide over the curbing. Cleland is fighting back. Hodgetts is still fourth. Hall is still there in fifth place. Up to Bridge. The left and then the right. Here's the left. Cleland's having a look behind Jeff Allen. Dodges over to the right. Absolutely together they go. First, second, third, left, right, out of it. Absolutely nothing in it in the 2 litre class. One of the best battles of the year. We're with John Cleland again. He's on Jeff Allen's boot lid, and this could be it. Coming down to Copse, and it is it. John Cleland goes through into second place in the 2 litre class ahead of Jeff Allen. In car with Cleland, thanks Jeff. But championship leader Frank Sittner is in trouble. He's got a development engine in the BMW, and it looks as though it's not there yet. In fact, it's foot power for Frank. And Frank Sittner was leading the British Championship. Oh well, suppose you can't win them all.
Frank, just ask you what the problem was?
The engine.
What was the matter?
Didn't work.
Thanks, Frank. And Frank Sittner strides off into the sunset, away from his broken BMW, to have a word with his ProDrive team boss, Dave Richards.
Vauxhall was slow as dogs after 3 laps.
Yeah, I thought so, yeah.
Slow as dogs, Frank? Well, Kurt Luby's still got one right behind him. And it's John Cleland's sandwiched between the BMW M3s of Kurt Luby and Jeff Allen. There they go, Luby leading the class. Cleland still second, number 50. Jeff Allen still third. Woodcote at the end of the lap. Luby leads the 2 litres. Not by very much though. Cleland is there, and so is Allen. And here's the Swedish woman driver, Netton Lindgren, and Jerry Marnie's lost it. Jerry's certainly having an exciting 1990 one way and another. Now here's a replay from Jerry's point of view, down through the gears. And it's goodbye, Mum, he's lost it. Restart, back into the race. And now Jerry's fighting for last place with John Clark's BMW. Clark on the right. Now we're with Marnie again, down to Copse. Past him goes John Clark, so Jerry Marnie is last now. Out of Copse, that engine sounds rough. Up towards Maggots. And there goes Lawrence Bristow, lapping the BMWs. What a difference in performance, but what a difference in horsepower too. Brown Beckett's on towards Chapel. Jerry Marnie chasing John Clark. There's a blue flag waving there. Down the hangar straight. Harvey third and Bristow fourth in the 2 blue Sierras are lapping tail-enders, and so is Graham Good, fifth in the black Sierra. In car again with Jerry Marnie. Clark ahead into Stowe. Out of it. Clark's lost it. Is Marnie going to hit him? Mercifully, no. Clark goes into the sand trap. Rear wheel spinning. He won't get out. John Clark's race is over. No damage, though. Now, that's not the checkered flag that's going out. It's the naughty boy flag for breaking the rules. And Andy Rouse is getting it. And I haven't the faintest idea why. But Andy Rouse, number 1, blazes on. Still second behind Rob Gravitt. Now, there is Rouse. Still Tim Harvey third. And there's still no quarter amongst the 2 litre leaders. Luby leading. Cleland and Allen absolutely together. Allen trying for second. Out of Chapel, down the hangar straight. Look how close they are. There's virtually nothing in it in terms of performance. BMW, Luby. Vauxhall, Cleland. BMW, Allen. First, second and third in the 2 litre class. And that's Rob Gravitt. The race leader is on his last lap. He is almost a lap ahead of the battling 2 litres. Rob on his way to his 4th successive win, 3 seconds ahead of Andy Rouse, a fastest lap at 110.2 miles an hour. But there's still a lap to go for the 2 litre cars. The positions could still change. Coming up to Bridge now. Allen is trying for second past John Cleland. Here they come. Rob Gravitt watching from behind. Only a few hundred yards for him to go now, but it's Luby leading still. Cleland second in the 2 litre class. Allen third. Over the line they're going to go. Lap to go. Rob Gravitt, though, wins round 6 for Trackstar. That is his 4th successive win, and he's delighted. On go the 2 litres, but overall it's 2nd for Andy Rouse, 3rd for Tim Harvey, 4th Lawrence Bristow, 5th Graham Good, and 6th Mike Smith. But who is going to win the 2 litre class? It's going to be Kurt Luby. John Cleland 2nd, Jeff Allen 3rd. Kurt's 2nd class win for BMW, and one he can be truly proud of, with a new 2 litre lap record at 103 miles an hour. Well done, Kurt Luby. And well done, John Cleland and Jeff Allen.
Yes, they produced a superb battle, but it's still Frank Sittner out in front in that 2 litre class, 16 points behind the all-conquering Rob Gravitt in the overall competition. A week later, and the cars were at Brands Hatch. Highlights now of the hour-long 2-driver race that formed round 7 of the championship.
60 minutes around Brands Hatch with a driver change is going to be tough. And it's Andy Rouse from pole position, first into Paddock Bend. Rob Gravitt behind him. Sean Walker is 3rd, and it's Slim Borgard in 4th position, and we're with Slim Borgard now, going up Harewood Hill into Druids. Sean Walker on the right, Rob Gravitt in the white Sierra, and Andy Rouse is leading out of Druids. So it's Rouse, Gravitt, Walker. We're with Slim Borgard, ex-Formula 1 driver, ex-drummer for ABBA, and he's good. So there they go, Rouse, Gravitt, Walker, Borgard, Graham Good, and Lawrence Bristow. That's the first 6 into Clearways and out of it. Graham Good, number 15 in the Black Sierra. That's Graham Hathaway and John Cleland leading the 2 litre class. Over the line, Rouse, Gravitt, and the rest of them streaming through. And look for the 2 litres, and there they go.
Those were the opening exchanges. First casualty was Lawrence Bristow, who pulled into the pits on lap 5 with serious engine problems. Up ahead of the race, though, it was still Gravitt hounding Andy Rouse through the opening 10 laps.
And behind, it's just the same with the 2 litres. Cleland, number 50, leading. Sittner, number 55. David Leslie is closing up. So it's Vauxhall leading, BMW 2nd. There's the Vauxhall, BMW in 3rd position in the 2 litre class. In car with John Cleland. Coming up to the Jack Brabham straight. He's leading the 2 litre class. No, he's not, because there's Frank Sittner going through. Cleland fights back. Sittner's got the inside line at Paddock. Sittner takes the lead in the 2 litre class in the BMW, and he takes 7th place overall up Harewood Hill into Druids Hill Bend, but Sittner is still in front. Cleland has to tuck in behind the BMW, and now it's a 3-car race, because look, there is Sittner, there is Cleland, and there behind them is that fine Scottish driver David Leslie. Now we're with Rob Gravitt, 2nd overall. Andy Rouse is leading. Rob Gravitt goes through. Rob Gravitt is leading. He's done it at Druids. Goes straight past Andy Rouse and takes the lead in the Trackstar Sierra down to Graham Hill Bend. In the largely unsponsored Trackstar car, and he's racing against the Andy Rouse Engineering Ford Sierra Cosworth. There is Andy. Going round Surtees, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th in the 2 litre class into Clearways. And that's John Cleland locking up, the right front locking up as he comes out of Clearways and down the straight. Something's amiss, something's wrong, because past goes Tim Sugden, past goes Jeff Allen. John Cleland is in trouble, he's out of the race.
Also out of the race, Andy Rouse, the coolant temperature soaring in the Sierra. Rouse out on lap 36. Meanwhile, race leader Gravitt is handing over to Mike Smith.
door open. Gravit out, the mechanics have got the shoulder straps held for Mike Smith, that's a good move. Mike Smith in, they are not changing the tyres, I noticed, that saves time. 12 seconds was all it took for Gravit to get out, Mike Smith to get in. Mike does up his shoulder straps before he even leaves the pit lane, onto the track. And Rob Gravit, job well done, helmet off. Is this going to be his 5th consecutive win?
Certainly looked good for Rob Gravit. Behind his teammate Mike Smith was Tim Harvey, but the Black Sierra of Dave Brodie, making his return to the championship, is dropping out of 3rd place and the race. Brodie in the Graham Good car out with clutch failure, so Sean Walker and Ian Flux take 3rd. Frank Sittner and Kurt Luby were 4th and heading the 2-litre class. This is Tim Harvey in 2nd, and he's waiting for any mistake from race leader Mike Smith, but no mistake came.
Mike Smith keeps it on the island to make it win number 5 in 1990 for Trackstar. 2nd, Tim Harvey and Slim Borgood. 3rd, Sean Walker and Ian Flux. And Mike Smith wins. Kelvin Burt, there he is, finishes 5th overall. Kurt Luby wins the class with Frank Sittner and finishes a fine 4th overall.
Anxiety after the race when Gravit's car and Sittner's BMW were disqualified for oversized fuel tanks. Those disqualifications were later overturned, so Gravit stays in command, a 16-point lead in the championship. So round 8 of the SO British Touring Car Championship, and a very hectic race it proved to be. On pole position, the resurgent Rob Gravit, who'd won the last 5 rounds to head the championship. Alongside him, Tim Harvey in the Labatt Sierra, anxious to produce the race win he's promised. Andy Rouse qualifying 4th alongside Lawrence Bristow. 3rd row of Sean Walker and Graham Good, and the 2 Vauxhalls well in command of the 2-litre class, John Cleland and Chris Hodgetts ahead of Jeff Allam and Frank Sittner. Mark Hales in the improving Mitsubishi alongside Godfrey Hall. Commentator Murray Walker.
It's go! Harvey's late away, and Andy Rouse has hit him. Andy Rouse is weaving, he's trying to get past Rob Gravit as the White Sierra comes towards us in the lead. Down to Riches, the first right-hander. Gravit, Rouse, Harvey, Bristow, Good and Walker go through. Then the rest of them after them, and there's a collision. There's a collision, someone's off. Cloud of dust, there's a black BMW there. It's Godfrey Hall in the black BMW, and I think he collided with Mark Hale's Mitsubishi. He rejoins, there's a big dent, and there's tyre smoke coming towards us down the Revit straight. Gravit on the right, Rouse on the left, Bristow behind them. Into the S's for the first time. Gravit, Rouse, Harvey, Bristow, and Rouse is attacking. He's through, he's past Gravit, and so is Harvey. Down to 3rd position from 1st goes Gravit, and now we're in car with Tim Harvey. 2nd, that's Rouse ahead, up to Cora, but 130 miles an hour, and Rouse needs this win. Up to Russell, 1st gear, Harvey goes through, Rouse goes wide, Gravit is behind him. Rouse spins, going right round, and through goes Gravit, up into 2nd position. Andy Rouse is stuck, his rear spoiler is hanging off, he's got to wait for a gap in the traffic to rejoin, he does so, and he's got a puncture, right rear puncture. Andy Rouse is in real trouble. And here is a replay coming towards us. There is Rouse, Harvey going through on the inside. Rob Gravit closes up on Andy Rouse into the right-hander at Russell. This is a 1st gear bend. Harvey leads, Rouse 2nd. Into the 1st gear apex. Rouse spins round. I don't think Gravit touched him. That would be the puncture. Gravit goes through. Bristow goes through. Sean Walker dodges to the left. Graham Good to the right. And Andy Rouse is in the pits. On goes the new tyre and wheel. Andy Rouse sitting impassively behind the safety net. Down goes the car. Andy Rouse rejoins. He rejoins last. There's going to be no points today. It's a terrific battle in the 2-litre class. John Cleland leads, but there is Frank Sittner and 99 Jeff Allam going through to 3rd in class. In car with Tim Sugden, battling against Frank Sittner. And Andy Rouse touring again. This time it's the left rear. Look at the smoke pouring off the tyre. It's rubbing against the wheel arch. Dreadful 1990 for Andy Rouse. 4 times British champion. No points today. The leaders, it's the same up front. Harvey leads. Gravett second. Bristow is third and gaining. Look for the second Blue Sierra. There it is. Lawrence Bristow, third, is catching the leaders under the bridge. And Tim Harvey nearly lost it there. Into the right-hander. He's still leading. Gravett is pressing him very hard indeed. And Lawrence Bristow is gaining on both the Ford Sierras ahead of him. First, second, third, into Russell. And now Tim has got a problem. It's Rob Gravett. They accelerate away from a virtual standstill here. Build up to nearly 150 miles an hour. At the end of the lap, there is nothing in it. And it's just as close for the 2 litres. Cleland, Hodgetts, Allam. Hodgetts is attacking as he goes into the right-hander. He locks up, runs wide. Allam dodges through on the inside and they've collided. Head-to-head confrontation, and it is an angry one. And that's Frank Sittler looking back at Tim Sugden's car. They've moved up to second and third in class. The Vauxhall and the BMW rejoin, but Allam has to go the long way round. Replay. Cleland leads. Hodgetts attacking, locks up. Cleland carries on in the lead. Hodgetts runs wide. Allam goes through on the inside. Hodgetts can't avoid hitting him. That is a racing accident, but it's very tough on Jeff Allam. He's lost out. And there's the race for the overall lead. Tim Harvey, number 3. Robert Gravett right behind him. Lawrence Bristow third. Now it's Dunlop tyres for Harvey and Bristow. Yokohama's on Gravett's car. And it could be another race that tyres are going to decide the result of. Look at this. Terrific stuff. Absolutely on the limit. Tim Harvey, Rob Gravett, trusting each other. Down to Russell. If either one of them puts a wheel wrong, the positions will change. And Bristow is closing up. He's getting closer and closer all the time. Through to the end of the lap. Harvey, Gravett. Gravett attacking, trying to go through on the inside, doesn't do so. Harvey and Gravett are slowing each other up. Lawrence Bristow is making the most of his opportunity. He is closing all the time. Look at him, there he is, the third car. You can see the gap between the white Sierra and the blue one behind it, getting closer and closer all the time, down the Revit Straight. Leader Tim Harvey under terrific pressure. So is Rob Gravett for that matter from Lawrence Bristow. Gravett right up alongside. Harvey as they go into the left. Now the right at the S's. Harvey now and Gravett's lost it. He's spun. Bristow goes through to second place. Rob Gravett regains, well, he's down to third position, looking back from Rob Gravett's car, and there is Sean Walker going past him up into third position. So it's Harvey leading now. Then is Labatt's teammate in second position, looking back again. This is a replay from Rob Gravett's car, and there is Bristow in third position at the moment. Into the S's right, he's lost it. Spins right the way round. Bristow goes through. Rob Gravett keeps the power on, spins round, but Walker has got the momentum and he goes through up into third position. So now it's Tim Harvey leading, Lawrence Bristow second, there they are. Sean Walker is third, Rob Gravett is down to fourth position. There's Bristow under the bridge. And it looks like being the first and second for the Labatt's teammates this year. The 2 litres, this is the battle for second and third. Frank Sittner, number 55, second. His teammate, Tim Sugden, behind him, but John Cleland's Vauxhall still leads the class. Number 55, Frank Sittner, the 1988 British champion. And Tim Sugden's new to the BMW team, but making a terrific impression. And in the background there, in the blue and white BMW, Jeff Allam is fighting back. He's down to 9th in the class. He's chasing Nick Baird and John Llewellyn. And Sean Walker comes into the pits. Tyre problem? It is a tyre problem. Left front. Only the left front. That's where the wear is here at Snetterton. And the leaders are lapping the BMWs. Harvey dives to the left. Bristow dives to the right. Harvey goes past Allam and Bristow goes through to the lead. Terrific, brilliant bit of driving. Lawrence Bristow passes his teammate Tim Harvey and takes the lead. In car with Tim Harvey, teammate Bristow ahead of him. Down a gear into Sear corner. Out of Sear. Down the Revit straight. Nearly 150 miles an hour here, approaching the S's. Lapping slower cars. Can he gain any time and distance on Bristow? Bristow locks up. Left. Right. Out of the S's. There's no team orders here. This is war. Under the bridge. Into Bombhole corner. And now in car with Tim Harvey, approaching Corham at 130 miles an hour. Challenging his teammate, Lawrence Bristow, trying to go through on the outside. They're going down into first gear for Russell, the right-hander. Bristow up to the apex, catching Jerry Marnie, about to lap his BMW M3. Tim Harvey right behind him. There's the blue flag. They both go past Marnie, through to complete another lap. And there is Rob Gravitt's White Sierra, third. He is reeling in Tim Harvey and Bristow down to Riches. He's pressuring both the blue Sierras. And Rob Gravitt is the man to watch in this race then. Bristow leads, Bristow spins, he's lost it. Harvey goes through first, Gravitt goes through second. Now, if that was because Bristow's tyres were losing their grip, then Harvey's will be too, and Gravitt in the White Sierra is using a different make. Great stuff this, into the S's. Harvey, Gravitt, first and second. Look how close they are. Bristow rejoins, kicking himself, I'm sure, down to third position. Replay. Bristow leading Harvey now. The rear of Bristow's Sierra steps out, he loses it, spins right round. Harvey goes through into the lead. Gravitt into second place, and Bristow has to engage first gear and drive away down in third position. The leaders, so now it's between Tim Harvey and Rob Gravitt and their tyres. Out of Sear, up to Revit. Absolutely together. Here's Sear, now into the Revit straight. Who is going to outbrake the other into the S's? They're coming up behind Mark Hale's Mitsubishi 2-litre. There it is on the left. Gravitt in the white car dodges out from behind Tim Harvey, but as they come up to the left at the S's, Harvey has got the racing line. Gravitt has to tuck in behind him. Harvey still leads as they go into the right-hander. Now it's Bridge. Harvey leads out of it. These cars producing over 550 horsepower. It's brilliant just to keep them onto the circuit, into Bombhole corner, up to Corham. Then down to Russell again, the first gear bend, and they're coming up behind Mark Hale's Mitsubishi. There it is. And they're going to lap it very shortly. Is he going to get in the way? Here's the end of the lap, and this is close. Past Mark Hale's, it tucks over to the right. Down to Riches, and they're catching Chris Hodgett's Vauxhall, which has got a very battered front. Rob Gravitt has got his nose tucked up almost under the rear spoiler of Harvey's Ford. Sear coming up. Gravitt looking for a way past all the time, and Harvey knows he's there. He can see it big in his mirrors. They're coming up to Hodgett's now. That's good flag marshalling. And it's good, clean racing. Harvey goes past Hodgett's. Gravitt goes past Hodgett's. How that Vauxhall is keeping going, I do not know. Oh, look at that! Gravitt almost touches Harvey's car. Tim Harvey has got a race on his hands now, no doubt about it. Absolutely on the ragged edge of adhesion. Russell. They're past Hodgett's. And Tim Harvey is withstanding that pressure from Rob Gravitt magnificently. End of the lap, and still Rob Gravitt can't get by. Harvey gets the power down exactly right, into Riches. Gravitt has a look round the outside. There's no way round there, Rob. And there isn't. Now up to Sear. and they are catching Tim Sugden's BMW M3 as they come up to the Rivet Straight. Speed building up again. Now there's Sugden's car, and Tim Harvey has got the racing line to get by on the right as you look at it, and Rob Gravitt is boxed in. So Harvey dodges through. Gravitt comes out from behind Sugden's BMW, stays right on the rear bumper of Harvey's Ford Sierra. Under the bridge they go. And now the approach to Russell from the fastest part of the course, from 5th gear down into 1st gear. Brakes on hard. You've got to get the approach absolutely right. Tim Harvey does it. Gravitt goes wide. Harvey puts the power down again. That's Tim Sugden's car that's been lapped. They go through again. And Harvey is starting to pull away a bit. No, he's not, because Gravitt is closing as they come up to Riches. And my goodness, he's through. Rob Gravitt goes through. Looking back, there is Harvey's car. He is counter-attacking. He's up alongside the White Sierra. He's going to retake the lead. No, he's not. He's lost it. Yes, he's lost it, and that is just less grip. So, Rob Gravitt leads, Tim Harvey rejoins 2nd, but it is going to be Gravitt's 6th successive win for the Trackstar team, and a happy 1st for their new Ford Credit sponsor. There is Gravitt. He's got a comfortable cushion now between himself and Tim Harvey. Into the S's. What a wonderful season it's been for Rob Gravitt and for Trackstar. Tim Harvey, look at the dented door. 2nd place. Not the first time this season, but that elusive win still escapes Tim. Now replay. In car with leader Tim Harvey. Gravitt goes through on the inside. Tim Harvey fights back. Gravitt goes wide. Tim Harvey gets alongside him. He's through into the lead. No, he's not, because you can see the nose of Gravitt's car, and Harvey's lost it. Lots of opposite lock. It's gone, and so has Tim's chance of winning. Through the cloud of dust, and there is Gravitt, long gone, way away in the lead. Here he is, another victory. And a great drive, and John Cleland's Vauxhall is going to beat the BMWs for the 2nd time this season to win the 2-litre class. And there's Chris Hodgetts with a furious adversary, Jeff Allen, gaining fast. And just look at the Vauxhall front spoiler. It is now right underneath the car. Look. Allen's with him. BMW is going to take Vauxhall. Now's the time. Allen moves over, goes through, he passes, and I bet there'll be a rumpus after the race. Here they come, Allen, Hodgetts, and Mark Hale's Mitsubishi is going to finish 4th in the 2-litre class, its best finish yet this year. But Rob Gravitt wins round 8 as he won rounds 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So it's the right car, the right driver and the right tyres again.
And a race that proved the front-running Sierras are as exciting as the cars behind. But a very familiar result, the 6th win in succession for the astonishing Rob Gravitt, with the blue and white cars of Harvey and Bristow hounding him all the way.
I think I was helped by Tim and Lawrence having a bit of a battle up the front. They worked each other really hard, I could see it from the back, and I was fortunate with the tail enders, managed to catch up, but Tim and I had a very, very close race there, as you probably saw, and it was all about, I've been off once and so has Tim, and it's unusual for me to go off and it's unusual for Tim as well, so that's how hard we're trying.
Well, I think it's probably the best race I've ever had and not won, so it was a tremendous race. I got through the traffic on the first lap, I had a bit of a lead and I thought, right, I'll just knuckle down. Then Lawrence started making life very difficult for me, and I think we probably used our tyres a bit hard. And I had nothing to fight back against Rob, but all credit, he drove a brilliant race. I held him off as long as I could, but Labatt Sierra wasn't to be the day today.
Another frantic race with a really bruising first lap, and this impact, one of a few, buckled the floor pan on Gravitt's car, but while Bristow was in contact here, he and Harvey are losing contact with the championship leaders. But the winning streak gets longer for Rob Gravitt, who stretches his overall lead to 21 points over Frank Sittner. For round 9 at Brands Hatch, Gravitt once again on pole position as he went for consecutive win number 7. Up front on the grid, it was Gravitt from Bristow, who had a good session on his qualifying tyres, but like teammate Tim Harvey, wasn't too optimistic about his race tyres. Rouse right behind Gravitt. Amato Ferrari, new to the championship, in the very quick Eggenberger Sierra on row 4. Graham Hathaway, a non-starter from row 4. Cleland led the 2-litre qualifiers, the likes of Kurt Luby and Frank Sittner ready to pounce. The commentator is Murray Walker.
15 laps to go, and only 0.2 of a second covers the first 3 on the grid. Rob Gravitt on the left in pole position, Lawrence Bristow on the right, and Andy Rouse behind Gravitt's White Sierra. And it's a sensational start by Andy Rouse from the second row, straight through the middle into the lead at paddock, and Tim Harvey is alongside Rob Gravitt as they go into paddock. So, coming up to Druids, Harvey running very wide indeed. It's Rouse, Gravitt, Harvey in 3rd place. Then it's his teammate, Lawrence Bristow, there he is, Walker and Graham Good. Down to Graham Hill Bend. In car with Lawrence Bristow ahead of us, Harvey, Gravitt and Rouse. Round 30s go the leaders, and then behind them it's the new boy, Amato Ferrari in the Black Sierra, challenging him, Andy Middlehurst, and in 9th position, the Vauxhall 2-litre of John Cleland. Now we're in car with Frank Sittner, 10th position. John Cleland is ahead, leading the 2-litre class. Ahead of him it's Middlehurst. Now into the right-hander at Hawthorne, out of Pilgrim's Drop. 120 miles an hour round Hawthorne, down to Westfield. Cleland ahead. And now we're with John Cleland, leading the 2-litre class, 9th overall. Ahead of us is Andy Middlehurst, ahead of him is Amato Ferrari. Down to Sterling's, the left-hander. From Sterling's on to Clearways. And you can see the way the Ford Sierra Cosworth stride away from the Vauxhall. They've got 550 horsepower and Amato's lost it. Amato's lost it. Through goes Cleland. Through goes Sittner. Through goes Allen. And 24-year-old Amato from Piacenza is out. And there are the 2-litre leaders. What a battle. John Cleland is leading. Frank Sittner is in 2nd place. Then Jeff Allen in the Vic Lee car. There's Cleland. Cleland has won the 2-litre class twice already. Sittner Luby goes through. Kurt Luby is past Allen, up to 3rd in the 2-litre class. Pilgrim's Drop. There are the Labatt's twins. Tim Harvey, number 3, 3rd. Lawrence Bristow, his teammate, number 10, is 4th. Sean Walker there is in 5th position. Graham Good is 6th. Now we're riding in car with Lawrence Bristow. Out of Hawthorns at 120 miles an hour. On to Westfield. From Westfield to Dingledell, 3rd gear, 90 miles an hour as they go through the right, the left, and now on to Sterling's, from Sterling's to Clearways. So Tim Harvey ahead is in 3rd place, we are 4th, Sean Walker is 5th, Graham Good is in 6th position. And here are the leaders, Andy Rouse, number 1 leading, number 11 Rob Gravitt, over the line to complete the lap. Nothing in it. This looks like another tyre race. Rouse and Gravitt are using different makes. They've got an enormous lead over Harvey, Bristow, Walker and Good. Rouse has got the advantage. He's got a clear lap in front of him. But my goodness, Rob Gravitt is really pushing him, almost nudging the rear bumper of Andy Rouse's Ford Sierra as they go down into Graham Hill Bend, on towards Surtees. But if Andy Rouse just stays cool and keeps the racing line, it's going to be almost impossible even for Rob Gravitt to get past him. Very, very evenly matched. Drivers and cars. Pilgrim's Drop. This is 155 miles an hour for the Ford Sierra Cosworths. And here are the 2 litres. Look at this. 7th, 8th and 9th overall. 1st, 2nd and 3rd in the class. In car with Frank Sidner, and that is John Cleland's Vauxhall Cavalier ahead as they go down the Jack Brabham straight into paddock at the end of another lap. Kurt Luby is right behind his teammate Frank Sidner. Up into Druids again. Cleland leading, Sidner behind him, Luby behind him. What an absolutely fantastic scrap in this 270 horsepower 2-litre class. Kurt Luby in the BMW Junior team. It's his team leader Frank Sidner ahead of him. And that's Sean Walker, 5th position, chasing Lawrence Bristow ahead of him in the blue and white Sierra, 4th place. And ahead of Bristow is his teammate Tim Harvey, 3rd position. There are the leaders again. It's getting closer and closer all the time. Andy Rouse, Rob Gravitt over the line to complete another lap. Gravitt is starting to challenge. He's coming up on the inside. He's going through. This is incredible. Did he touch Andy Rouse? Well, we're looking back now from Gravitt's car. There is Andy Rouse as they go up to Druids. Gravitt has taken the lead in one of the most audacious passing manoeuvres I've ever seen. A fantastic bit of passing. Up into the lead. Andy Rouse down into 2nd place. Out of Graham Hill Bend, up to Surtees. Well, Gravitt's got past Rouse. Can Rouse get back again? There's a couple of tail-enders that they've got to lap. And as ever, if either of them get in the way of the leaders, there'll be trouble. But here is a replay. Now watch Rob Gravitt in the background in the white Sierra come up alongside Andy Rouse. Do they touch? Didn't look like it to me. Rob Gravitt goes through beautifully cleanly, almost on the grass. An incredible drive. Now, here are the 2 litres. John Cleland and Frank Sidner lapping Andy Middlehurst. Sidner goes through and Middlehurst has hit him. Middlehurst in the black Sierra hits Frank Sidner, who nevertheless gets past. Kurt Luby doesn't though, so Cleland and Sidner have broken away, and Kurt Luby's got to get past the Ford Sierra Cosworth as they go into Surtees. There they are. Cleland, Sidner, Middlehurst, Luby. Behind Luby is Allam. Behind Allam is Netton Lindgren, the Swedish woman driver. Superb drive by Netton. Pilgrim's Drop and Andy Middlehurst in the black Sierra powers past John Cleland, who is on the inside as they go into Hawthorne. And Middlehurst runs wide. He's passed though as they go down to Westfield, and Cleland goes through again. Middlehurst onto the grass. Sidner goes through and Middlehurst has lost it. Luby goes by, Allam goes by, Lindgren goes by, and Andy Middlehurst has lost it altogether as the Sierra goes through. And there, behind him, is John Clark and David Coulthard. Middlehurst gets back again. He's gone down 5 places from 9th to 14th. And it's now a 5-car battle between the 2 litres. John Cleland leading, Sidner 2nd, Luby 3rd, Allam 4th, and Lindgren 5th in the 2-litre class. Over the line they go. 2 seconds covers the 1st to 5th in the 2 litres. Paddock up to Druids. John Cleland from Peebles leads the way. Frank Sidner from Nottingham and Luby from Bolton follow through. They're ahead of Jeff Allam from Lee and Sweden's Netton Lindgren. Down into Graham Hill Bend. So, Vauxhall, BMW, Cleland, Sidner. Champions both. Kurt Luby, perhaps a champion of the future. Jeff Allam, champion of the past, British touring car champion when he was driving for Rover. 4th in the class. Netton Lindgren holding on magnificently. In car with Sidner. And he gives some sort of a signal to Kurt Luby behind him. So, I think Luby's trying to pass. No, 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 says Frank Sidner. Yes, 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 says Luby. I'm going to try. But he doesn't succeed at Hawthorne. What a superb circuit Brands Hatch is. It's got everything. Gradient, corners, speed, action. Lots of spectacle. Here it is. That's Dingle-Dale and that's Cleland leading. And this is Ian Forrest and Mark Hales. Mark Hales, number 60 in the Mitsubishi. Only one of those in the race. There he goes. Still leading just, Rob Gravitt, number 11, looking good for a record 7th successive win. Record lap, 1 minute 32.6, 101.4 miles an hour. And there is the battle between Lawrence Bristow, number 10, Sean Walker, number 4, for 4th position. That was Tim Harvey going through, up into Druids, and Sean Walker goes through. Sean Walker dives through on the inside of Lawrence Bristow, takes 4th position away from him, and starts to pull away as they go into Graham Hill Bend. So Gravitt leads, Rouse is in 2nd place, Harvey is in 3rd position. This is the battle for 4th between Sean Walker, number 4, Lawrence Bristow. Here are the 2 litres, a 5-car train, 1.5 seconds covers them now. Cleland in the Vauxhall, Sittner, Luby, Allam and Lindgren in BMWs, and the Vauxhall is where it matters, up front. Sittner closing right up on John Cleland's rear bumper as they go over the crest. In car with Sittner, he shakes his head. He may not like it, but Luby is going through on the left. He's done it. Kurt Luby in the BMW goes up to 2nd in class. Cleland, Luby, Sittner, Jeff Allam right behind Frank Sittner. Lindgren is right behind Jeff Allam. And Sittner angrily gesticulating. He wants to get past. I don't suppose Kurt Luby's doing too much looking in his rear mirror just now, though. Up to Westfield, out of it. And if anything, John Cleland's getting away as they go through Dingle Dell. Cleland, Luby, Sittner, Allam, number 99, 4th position in the class. There's Netton Lindgren, 5th in the class. Down into Clearways. And it's looking like win number 3 coming up for John Cleland and the Dave Cook Racing Team. There he is in his 2-litre Vauxhall Cavalier, over the line, into paddock. Beautifully steady. Car handles magnificently. Druids. Down into 2nd gear, into the apex, down to Graham Hill Bend. The Cavalier has got the legs of the heavier BMWs, and the RAC's handicap system seems to have got the weight penalty just about right. Look at it. Cavalier, BMW, 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 BMW. 4 of them chasing the lone Vauxhall. In car with Frank Sittner. Now, he's got a good points lead over Cleland in the championship, but he'd be obviously happier if he could get back to 2nd in class by passing Kurt Luby ahead of him. And Frank is challenging as they go into Hawthorne. Now Westfield. And Luby's nearly lost it. The back steps out. He's lost momentum. He's gone wide. Frank Sittner is going through. And Jeff Allam is going through. Kurt Luby, and he's touched. He's hit Luby. Allam hits Luby. And Luby has gone down 2 places from 2nd to 4th in just a few yards, and Netton Lindgren is snapping at his boot lid. And this is the last lap. Rob Gravitt versus Andy Rouse, and that audacious passing move of Rob Gravitt's seems to have cost Andy his 3rd win. Because there's a full second between them now as they go into Dingle Dell, down to Stirling's for the last time. There's Sean Walker, 4th position, staying ahead of Bristow. So Rob Gravitt leads, Andy Rouse 2nd, Tim Harvey 3rd. Then Walker, Bristow, Graham Good. There is Sean Walker, followed by Bristow, through Dingle Dell for the last time. Out of Clearways, almost home for that record 7th successive win, and he takes it. Rob Gravitt wins with a lap record from Andy Rouse in 2nd position, with Tim Harvey 3rd. But what about the 2 litres? We're in car with Frank Sittner, 2nd in class. John Cleland, the leader, ahead of him on their last lap. It's now or never. They're both champions. Ahead of them is Ray Arms's Honda Civic. They've got to lap it, and they're going to. Pilgrim's Drop coming up to Hawthorne's. There are the leaders. Cleland, Sittner right behind him. They're past Ray Arms. On to Westfield. Sittner is pushing very, very hard indeed, and John Cleland is right on the edge. Almost losing adhesion as he comes out of Westfield, but he doesn't. He's still in the lead. Sittner is still 2nd. Jeff Allam in the background is still 3rd. Through Dingle Dell safely. Down to Sterling's, we're with Frank Sidner. That's the leader ahead of him. They've only got Sterling's out of it now. Clearways, Clark Curve, the Jack Brabham Straight. And this is coming into Clearways. And it looks to me as though Cleland's going to do it. I can't see any way that Frank Sidner can get past him now. And Cleland knows he's won. The mercurial John Cleland waves in triumph, crosses the line to win the 2-litre class.
Yes, 7 wins in succession for Rob Gravitt, and he's helped by Cleland winning the 2-litre class ahead of Sidner. But once again, Gravitt had to fight off the stern challenge of Andy Rouse.
Andy was going very quickly there, and I didn't know whether I'd find a way past him, and I did really a death-defying act down the end of the straight because it's the only place I could see that I could get past him. Andy wanted the space that I was in, and I wanted the space that he was in, and I thought at one stage that we might have it coming together, but we might have touched paint, but I think that's about it. Frank didn't win the 2-litre class, so that gives us a bit more of a lead, so well done to John here.
John?
Whatever you pay me, it's not enough.
No, I realise that.
John Cleland had the toughest battle of all, holding off the challenge of Sidner, who gave everything on that last corner. The 2-litre class is the touring car format for next year, so another important point proved by Cleland and Vauxhall over the massed ranks of the BMWs. For the second time, the SO British Touring Car Championship saw action on the fast but confined streets of Birmingham. 44.5 miles around the city centre, one of the key races of the championship, especially if the 7-race domination of Rob Gravitt could be broken. Gravitt once again on pole position alongside Tim Harvey, who claimed his front row place in the dying moments of qualifying. Row 2, Lawrence Bristow and a rather disappointed Andy Rouse, Sean Walker and Graham Good row 3, Mike Newman and Amato Ferrari row 4. In the 2-litre class, John Cleland in the Vauxhall Cavalier fastest, and Frank Sidner would start directly behind Cleland, another opportunity for their intense rivalry to show itself. Gravitt led the field round to set up for what was going to prove the first of 2 starts, and the fierce competition that this Birmingham race always generated, plus the close proximity of the Armco, was about to claim some victims. Looking back from Gravitt's pole position car, Rouse on the left, Bristow on the right. Rouse, who'd produced a demon start from a similar position in the last round at Brands Hatch. And on this occasion, Rouse again powered through from the second row, but behind them, Lawrence Bristow and Graham Good had made contact, and their stricken cars would force the red flags out and the abandonment of the start. But the message took a while getting through to the other side of the circuit. Rouse, with Harvey behind, is hard on the power, and as Gravitt slows under the red flag, contact is made. And Rob Gravitt is somewhat aggrieved.
They put the red flags up before the roundabout, and I was going slow. Rouse came up behind and wanged up the back really hard. He's done a lot of damage to the back, and then hit me again, and they went past him with a red flag. I mean, the race has been stopped, waving his fist.
A big dent for Gravitt Sierra, but he'd be lining up for the restart. Lawrence Bristow wouldn't. His car took the main force of the incident, colliding with the barrier. Graham Good, who claimed he'd been nudged by Sean Walker, almost got going again, only to be foiled by an electrical problem. So 2 cars missing for the restarted race, which is described by Murray Walker.
And it's Rob Gravitt nosing away at the start. Into the left hand, it's Gravitt, then it's Harvey. Rouse in 3rd position, Sean Walker is 4th. Around Holtz, and Gravitt goes through on the inside to take Harvey. Looking back from Gravitt's car at Harvey 2nd, behind him is Andy Rouse. Through the kink, building up to 160 miles an hour. Peter Barwell Hill. Rouse is challenging Harvey and he's going through. Andy Rouse goes up into 2nd place. Harvey gesticulates, he's very unhappy about something. Down through the gears, from 4th to 3rd, from 3rd to 2nd, into the long left, Halford's corner. Rob Gravitt leading in the white Sierra, then it's Andy Rouse, we're 3rd with Tim Harvey. Now, down Belgrave Middleway, up through the gears, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Tim Harvey pointing at his turbo gauge. 1 finger. Maybe that means he's down to 1 bar boost. It should be 2. Anyway, into Ferodo corner. Out of it. Gravitt leads. Rouse 2nd. Harvey 3rd. Sean Walker is 4th. In the blue Sierra, it's Amato Ferrari 5th, being challenged by Mike Newman. Behind them, the 2 litres, Luby, Cleland, Hall. Looking back at Tim Harvey. No, it's Andy Rouse, of course. Andy Rouse in 2nd position, coming up right behind Rob Gravitt, past the multi-storey car park at 100 miles an hour. And there are the 2 litres. Kurt Luby in the BMW is leading John Cleland in the Vauxhall. Terrific drive by Luby already. He got away beautifully at the start, driving for the BMW Junior team. 7 times a kart champion, twice a Formula 4 champion. He's won 3 of the British Touring Car Championship 2-litre rounds this year. And behind him, John Cleland, the 1989 British champion in a Vauxhall Astra. He's won 3 times this year and he's challenging Luby. But Luby keeps him back, tucks in, goes round the left-hander. John Cleland tight up behind him, but Luby pulling away a bit, and there in 3rd position in the 2-litre class, it's Godfrey Hall. Now we are with Frank Sittner, 4th in the 2 litres. Just behind us, it's Jeff Allen. Now there's Godfrey Hall. Comes from Sutton Coldfield. From Nottingham, it's Frank Sittner. We're riding with Sittner. They both started from row 8 on the grid, and Godfrey Hall had a demon start, and it's paying off. Ex-Formula 3 driver. And here, ahead, 3rd, fighting for his position, it's Tim Harvey, number 3, ahead of Sean Walker in 4th position. And if Tim Harvey has got a boost problem, he's doing very well indeed to stay ahead of Sean Walker. But now, Sean is starting to challenge. So, out of the kink, Tim Harvey. Now into the quick bit, and this is Sean Walker's opportunity. And Tim Harvey gesticulates, and that looks like a gesticulation of despair to me. Be a better driver, it says on the front of his car, and I'm doing my best, says Tim Harvey, but it's not good enough. Sean Walker goes through, up into 3rd position, into Halfords. And now, as he goes down the Belgrave middleway, it'll give Sean Walker the opportunity to pull away, because with his turbo boost working, he can streak ahead. So, Rob Gravitt leads, Andy Rouse 2nd, Sean Walker that we're looking at is 3rd. Behind him is Tim Harvey. Into Ferodo. Walker is consolidating his 3rd place. Up Rover Road, there are the leaders. Gravitt, Andy Rouse. Between them, they've won all 9 rounds so far. Rob Gravitt's won 7 of them. This looks like being number 8. They're lapping at over 85 miles an hour. 34-year-old Rob Gravitt from Maidenhead, where he runs an Auto Factors, is the revelation of 1990. Andy Rouse behind him, 4 times British champion. But here his car and tyre combination seems inferior to Gravitt's. And look at this battle for the 2 litres. Sittner's going for it. He's past Hall. He's up to 3rd in the class. Kurt Luby's ahead of him still, and John Cleland. We're in car with Sittner. Now, Cleland is out of sight. He's 5 seconds ahead. So Fearless Frank has really got to fly. And up front, there is Andy Rouse, 2nd. Lights ablaze, chasing Rob Gravitt. And there's a bit of a gap now. Andy Rouse. Where is Rob Gravitt? He's missing. That's Andy Rouse. And there is Gravitt. He's out. He's out. So Andy Rouse now leads. Sean Walker is in 2nd place, and there is Gravitt's Trackstar team with an anxious Mike Smith on the right in sunglasses. And Allen is going for it. Jeff Allen comes out from behind Godfrey Hall, goes up into 4th position in the 2-litre class. And Godfrey Hall is right on the ragged edge. Look at him sliding, and that is Frank Sittner ahead. In car now with Tim Harvey. He's waving somebody through. He's unhappy. He's slowing. And it's Mike Newman. In the black Ford Sierra Cosworth, Mike Newman goes through into 3rd position. Mike back into racing after an illness, and it's a bad day for Tim Harvey's team. Lawrence Bristow, his teammate, non-started with a destroyed car. Tim Harvey, that we're riding with now, down to 4th in a race that he was optimistic about winning, starting from the front row. Well, there is Mike Newman, pulling away all the time now from Tim Harvey. As the Vauxhall BMW battle comes down to Honda turn, the left, accelerating away, out of the exit. through to complete the lap, and now they're coming down to Holtz. And Hodgetts is trying to take Hall on the outside. He's driving around the outside. Hall goes across. They make contact. Hall goes into the Armco. Hodgetts goes through to 5th in class. It's a BMW leading. Kurt Luby. Magnificent drive. There he goes. And in 2nd place, it's John Cleland in the Vauxhall. There he is. But Frank Sittner, and we're with Sittner now, the 1988 British champion in his BMW M3, is catching John Cleland. You can see him ahead. There is Sittner going through. There's the ProDrive team, and they're looking to see what the battle is, and this is it. Frank Sittner, 3rd in class, catching John Cleland's Vauxhall. And John Cleland's tyres are clearly shot. On the corners, he's in trouble. On the straights, he's going well. Kurt Luby, of course, is still leading the 2 litres. BMW leads, Vauxhall 2nd. We're riding with Frank Sittner's BMW in 3rd position in the class. And Frank Sittner is catching the Vauxhall hand over fist into Halford's. Now, watch how Cleland's car handles as he goes out of the right-hander. He's on the straight now, he can use the power, front-wheel drive, and here is Andy Rouse, almost home, to win for the 3rd time in 1990 by a massive 22 seconds from Sean Walker 2nd, Mike Newman 3rd, but the fastest lap to Rob Gravitt at 93 miles an hour.
Comfortable success for Andy Rouse, but behind, this is the scene. The battle in Cleland and Sittner had finished against the barrier, and some very angry words were about to be exchanged. Cleland in a heavily damaged car, furiously extricating himself through the passenger window. And the blame for the incident was not entirely clear. In this replay, on board with Sittner, rapidly gaining on Cleland with his tyres barely keeping him on the road. And Sittner makes what seems to be an audacious dive for the corner, and the impact knocks out the onboard camera and puts them both out of the contest. But in slow motion, you can see how Cleland appears to lock up all 4 wheels on the approach to the corner. Black tyre marks there on the road, suggesting to Sittner that the opening might be there. But then Cleland gathers it up, regains the line, at which point Sittner finds it quite impossible to avoid the accident. Sittner's sporting acceptance of the blame was ignored by Cleland at Birmingham, but accepted with apologies and a handshake at Donington. Signal that battle would be rejoined here in round 11. Sittner against Cleland for honours in the new 2-litre class that forms the exciting foundation for next year's championship. But ahead of the 2-litre cars on the grid, the Ford Sierras running their last races in current Class A trim. And near the head of the field, 2 more great rivals, Andy Rouse and Rob Gravitt, who at Donington was poised for this final Class A title. Surprisingly though, for a man with 7 race wins, Gravitt off the front row of the grid, a front row of Andy Rouse and Tim Harvey. Gravitt alongside Graham Good on row 2. Row 3 was a rather troubled Lawrence Bristow and Dave Brodie, one of the great characters returning to the championship. Quickest man in Class B, once again John Cleland in the Vauxhall Cavalier, but pushed hard by Tim Sugden and Frank Sittner. Murray Walker describes the action.
15 laps of Donington's superb circuit, and this is the race that could decide the Class A and B British Championships. Andy Rouse in pole position on the left, Tim Harvey second fastest on the right, straight through the middle. A great start from row 2 by Rob Gravitt in the white Sierra. Down to Redgate. Rouse leads, Gravitt alongside him. Behind him in 3rd place, it's Tim Harvey. Then Sean Walker, Lawrence Bristow in 5th position. Down to the Carina curves at 120 miles an hour. Rouse, Gravitt, Harvey. Sean Walker is 4th, Lawrence Bristow is 5th, into the old hairpin at 80 miles an hour, accelerating away, in car with Rob Gravitt, up to McLean's at 120 miles an hour, Andy Rouse in front of him. Watch Rob changing gears. 3rd gear for the right-hander at McLean's, and now up to Coppice. Here they come. Andy Rouse, Gravitt, Harvey, Walker. Out of Coppice, down the exhibition straight at 130 miles an hour, on towards the chicane. And Sean Walker is challenging Harvey. He's going through at the chicane. Walker Walker, number 4, goes up into 3rd position ahead of Tim Harvey. Lawrence Bristow is still in 5th position. Now down to the Melbourne hairpin, where with Tim Harvey, it's Sean Walker ahead of us. You can see Andy Rouse leading, Rob Gravitt second. Looking back from Frank Sittner's BMW, there's Bob Berridge and he's been hit by Jeff Allen. A collision, and that's Bob Berridge touring in, standing in for the injured David Coulthard. And it's been a very short drive in the Works Cavalier for the ex-Formula 4 champion, number 70, Bob Berridge, Vauxhall Cavalier, a long way from Cleveland for under a lap. Redgate, Rouse, Gravitt. Now there's Sean Walker 3rd, behind him Harvey, behind him Bristow, then it's Graham Good and Brodie, and here are the 2 litres, John Cleland leading. Trainer curves. Sean Walker, number 4, 3rd position, is really flying ahead of Tim Harvey. And up ahead of them to McLean's comes Andy Rouse, and he locks up his left front tyre, but he has a new lap record, 90.6 miles an hour. He's leading Rob Gravitt now by nearly 2 seconds. There's Rouse, Gravitt 2nd, Walker 3rd, Harvey 4th, Bristow 5th, Graham Good, number 15, in 6th position. Out of Coppice, down the long straight to the chicane. Good is challenging. Watch him. In the Black Sierra, Lawrence Bristow ahead of him, Good having a look at the chicane, but Bristow keeps him behind. Now, out of the chicane, down to the Melbourne hairpin, and Harvey raises the dust on the exit. And that's Dave Brodie, out. Returning to racing after a long layoff, and it hasn't lasted very long. But, out of the hairpin, Dennis Leach in the Sierra is being caught by the 2-litre leaders. Number 50, John Cleland. Number 55, Frank Sittner. Behind them is Jeff Allen in the BMW, 3rd in class. We're with Sittner, chasing his 2-litre rival, John Cleland. Now, the last time they raced, they had a collision at Birmingham. They won't want to repeat that again, but they are racing for the 2-litre title. Sittner. Once again then, it's the front-wheel drive Vauxhall in front, chased by the rear-wheel drive BMW, the 1989 British champion versus the 1988 British champion. Old hairpin, out of it, they're catching Dennis Leach's Sierra. We're back again with Frank Sittner. Starkey's up to McLean's, 275 horsepower plus. Frank has won the 2-litre class 4 times this year. John Cleland has won it 3 times. And behind them, Jeff Allen in 3rd position. It's all action in the 2-litre class, and that's Nick Whale hitting Mark Hales in the Mitsubishi. And through goes Ian Forrest. Mark Hales has lost 2 places, but down the straight, Frank Sittner is going for it. Up alongside John Cleland into the chicane. John Cleland keeps his place, cuts in front, goes out of the chicane, down to the Melbourne hairpin again. He's still leading in the Vauxhall. Jeff Allen is closing up in the Vic Lee Motorsport BMW, 3rd position in the 2-litre class. Fierce rivalry between the man from Peebles, John Cleland, the man from Nottingham, Frank Sittner. There they go. They both need a win for the 2-litre championship. Up to Goddard again, the left-hander, which leads into the start and finish straight. Vauxhall leads, BMW 2nd. Cleland, Sittner up alongside the rear wing of the Vauxhall, but he drops back as they go down to Redgate. Here they come. Cleland. Sittner with the blue headlamps and the blue strip over the windscreen. There's the Vauxhall out of Redgate. And that's Jeff Allen, followed by Tim Sugden, and here are the leaders up front. We are riding with Andy Rouse, the overall leader, being chased by Rob Gravitt, number 11. There he is, 2nd. And now Tim Sugden is starting to challenge Jeff Allen. There they are together. Sugden comes right up alongside Jeff Allen as they come out of Coppice. They're alongside each other as they go down the long straight towards the chicane. Cleland leading. And there's Jeff Allen. He's kept that third place. Sugden still fourth. Jeff Allen was in the right place when he came to turn in for the chicane. They're passing now Dennis Leach's Sierra. He's been lapped. Frank Sidner left-hand drive, John Cleland right-hand drive with the Vauxhall. Sidner coming up to the rear of the Vauxhall as they go into Goddard again. There is only 1.6 seconds between Cleland in the lead in the 2-litre class and Jeff Allen in third place as they complete the lap. And now Sugden is challenging. Tim Sugden, fourth position in the 2-litre class as they come up to Redgate. There are the leaders. And there is Sugden. He's going through on the inside. He's taken the position. He's up into third place in the 2-litre class. And that is Mark Hales leading Ian Forrest and John Clark. Two BMWs chasing the Mitsubishi. Down to Redgate, absolutely together. Hales in 15th place, Forrest 16th, Clark 17th, but it's anybody's position. Now down to the hairpin. There is Rob Gravitt still chasing Andy Rouse. Now tyres have been Andy's problem in the past. Are they going to be again? With nigh on 600 horsepower, that really burns the rubber. To Goddard. First and second, Rouse and Gravitt. The men who've dominated the overall British Touring Car Championship this year. And at McLean's, it's the Mitsubishi and the BMW still together. John Clark, last there, he's retiring at the end of the season. We're going to miss him. And Hales is using new Firestone radials for the first time, and they really seem to be working. But here are the leaders in the 2-litre class. Sidner and Cleland still absolutely as one. Tim Sugden behind them in third position, ahead of Jeff Allen fourth. Now, will Tim Sugden, with the red flash on the windscreen, try to pass his team leader, Frank Sidner, in view of the championship position? I very much doubt it, but we'll see. They're together as they come out of the Craner curves, pulling away from Jeff Allen. Cleland absolutely online. And it looks as though Frank Sidner just hasn't got the horsepower to get past the Vauxhall. But he's staying ahead of Tim Sugden, who is staying ahead of Jeff Allen. Down to the old hairpin, and we're looking back now from Sidner's car. That is Tim Sugden's BMW M3. Third in class. Coppice. Out of Coppice up to 130 miles an hour. The Vauxhall leads the three BMWs. Out of it, and Jeff Allen raises the dust. Just puts a wheel on the grass as he comes out of Coppice. And Frank Sidner is taking a look as they come down to the chicane. He's going to go through and take the lead this time in the 2-litre class. He has done it. Frank Sidner, the 1988 British Touring Car Champion overall, leads the 2-litre class and looks back now at John Cleland's Vauxhall. Hairpin. So Sidner ahead, and it looks now as though he's going to stay there. And Tim Sugden is starting to challenge the Vauxhall. Is John Cleland in trouble? Sugden, number 56, has a look on the outside of Cleland's Vauxhall. Now goes through on the inside. He's absolutely. They go across the line together, but Cleland has got the line at Redgate. He's on the inside, and that's where he needs to be. Sugden cuts across and goes through on the inside. He's going to go through. He does it. Tim Sugden in the BMW moves up to second in class behind his team leader, and here are the overall leaders, Andy Rouse, and with him now is Rob Gravitt. They are absolutely together, the race leaders. And Gravitt goes through at the hairpin. They're lapping Ray Arms, and Andy Rouse has lost the position. Rob Gravitt has got the nose of the Sierra in front, looking back now at Andy Rouse's Ford Sierra, and it looks as though this is going to be another win now for Rob Gravitt. That's Rouse. 4 times British champion Andy Rouse has had to give best again to Rob Gravitt, and there is Mike Newman in the Black Sierra, number 5, passing Lawrence Bristow up into 6th position. Redgate. Mike Newman 6th. Lawrence Bristow, who is Tim Harvey's teammate, down to 7th position. Race leaders. Rob Gravitt now. Down to the old hairpin. Andy Rouse behind him, headlights blazing with Andy Rouse now, and that is Rob Gravitt ahead. Is this going to be win number 8 for Rob Gravitt and for his Trackstar team? Andy Rouse is hanging on, but look at the way Rob Gravitt pulls away down the straight. Into the chicane. Gravitt coming up to lap a BMW, who moves across and lets him through, so there's no delay for the race leader. Andy Rouse follows him through, down to the hairpin. Gravitt seems to have it made now. Up to Goddard again, the end of another lap. Gravitt leads. Rouse in second position, Tim Harvey third, Sean Walker is fourth, Graham Goode is fifth, Mike Newman is in sixth position, and Rob Gravitt completes the lap. And it's a furious battle for the 2 litres. Sidner, Sugden, Cleland, Allen, BMW, Vauxhall, BMW, in car with Cleland. And we've just had news that John has been penalised 60 seconds for being incorrectly positioned at the start. And now Jeff Allen goes through. Down to 4th in class goes John Cleland. Up to 3rd goes Jeff Allen, who is ahead of us now. And John Cleland is now effectively 6th with the penalty. And he needed to win the class. But he's not giving up. Who knows? Anything could still happen. Now we're with Tim Harvey, who is in 4th position. Ahead of us, Sean Walker 3rd, but Harvey is closing on the Ford Sierra Cosworth ahead as they come down to the hairpin. Sean Walker goes wide, Tim Harvey gets alongside him. He's got the line, he's got the position as they come out, and Tim Harvey moves up into 3rd place overall. Down to 4th overall goes Sean Walker. Graham Goode is 5th, and here is Frank Sidner leading the 2 litres. If he can stay there, he still has a chance of the overall championship for the 2nd time. The 45-year-old veteran has driven a fine race, but then he's been driving for 28 years, so he knows the form by now. Craner curves, and Sean Walker on the left is in trouble. Number 4, he's been passed by Mike Newman in the Black Sierra. Number 5, Walker down to 6th position as they lap Mark Hale's Mitsubishi. And it's the last lap now for number 11, race leader Rob Gravitt. Another immaculate race for the man from Maidenhead. He took the lead on lap 11 out of 15. He's going to win for the 8th time this year to clinch the Class A British Championship. Last corner, last lap, it's going to be a victory for Gravitt, but it's a new lap record at 90.6 miles an hour to Andy Rouse. Gravitt wins, just 1.5 seconds ahead of Andy Rouse, but that's enough for Rob. And here are the 2 litres on their last lap. BMW, and there's the Vauxhall going off. John Cleland going off, but he keeps it going in car with Cleland. The 3 BMWs pull away, and Sidner is leading his way home. There he is, with a respectful Tim Sugden behind him. It's going to be Frank Sidner's 5th win this year. It's going to give him the 2 litre championship. They go out of coppice. Sidner, Sugden, Jeff Allen making a last lap challenge. It's the 2 Works BMWs in front of him. Jeff Allen in the Vic Lee Motorsport car, and he's getting closer and closer at the chicane. Sidner, Sugden, Allen, out of it. They've just got to go down to the Melbourne hairpin, out of it, up the hill, round Goddard, and that is the end of the race. Well, Sidner leads into the hairpin. Sugden 2nd. Allen 3rd. It's going to stay that way. Now, there are still 2 rounds to go of the British Touring Car Championship this year at Thruxton and Silverstone. Will Frank Sidner be able to prevent Rob Gravitt from becoming the overall British champion? Well, with the best 11 scores from 13 races to count, it's mathematically possible, and it's going to be interesting to see.
Frank Sidner, the overall 1988 champion, becomes the inaugural 2 litre champion, but now once again he has his eyes on that overall title. 26 points separated Sytner from Gravett, who once again took pole position for what could be the overall championship decider, round 12 at Thruxton. Gravett alongside Tim Harvey, and then a second row of the ever-improving Graham Good, Andy Rouse qualifying 4th, Lawrence Bristow, Sean Walker, row 3, John Cleland heading the 2 litres alongside Dave Brodie, and Frank Sytner right behind. Murray Walker describes what happened.
For the 8th time in 12 races, Rob Gravett has put his white Trackstar Ford Sierra on the left into pole position, with Tim Harvey alongside him on the right. Away they go, 20 laps. Andy Rouse sprints through from the second row up into second place behind Rob Gravett as they go into Allard Corner. Then it's Tim Harvey in 3rd position. Behind him in the black car, it's Graham Good. Now down to the complex, and Sean Walker in the background is challenging. And we're looking back now from Rob Gravett's car and Andy Rouse. He's pushing Gravett very hard indeed. He's going for the lead. Andy Rouse failing to get it. Gravett accelerates away. Rouse is going to attack again as they come up to Noble, the left-hander. So it's Gravett leading on the right, number 11. Andy Rouse in second position. Now, Rouse can't win the championship, but he can win the race. He's won 3 out of the 11 races so far to Rob Gravett's 8. But Rob Gravett doesn't need to win. He can take the overall championship with just second place. Rouse pulling up alongside the white Sierra as they go round the left-hander. Now down to the club chicane. And Rouse looks as though he's going through on the inside. Gravett is actually moving over to let him through. He does so, down to second place. Andy Rouse leads. Now we're with Jeff Allen in his BMW M3, and he is in trouble coming up to the club chicane. In fact, he's right up onto the curbing, slowing right down. Everybody is streaming past him. Oh, and look at that left rear wheel, a big chunk out of the rim. Allen now, here is a replay. Chasing Godfrey Hall's BMW at 140 miles an hour. Up to him and he's hit him. That was the problem. Jeff Allen hits Godfrey Hall, drifts out wide over the curbing into the pits. So, new left rear, out he goes, and he's got the airline attached to the car. He's putting the wrenches along. That's tremendously dangerous. But fortunately, Jeff Allen realises the problem and stops. And he's lost a lot of time, changing the wheel, then stopping in the pit lane. Rejoins last, and he's got a lot to do. Now, club corner, Andy Rouse leading by just over a second. Then it's Rob Gravett, 1.6 seconds ahead of this battle. Tim Harvey and Graham Good. Sean Walker is 5th, and Lawrence Bristow is in 6th position. Graham Good, there he is in the black car from Leicester, right up with Harvey. And now this is 10-time Scottish champion Ian Forrest, running very wide, over the curbing, rejoining, lost a lot of places. Built up to racing speed again, but he's lost his momentum. Now, out of Village and on to Brooklands. This is the battle for 3rd position. Behind Andy Rouse and Rob Gravett, Tim Harvey, Graham Good, ahead of Sean Walker. They're all in Ford Sierra Cosworth turbos. Each of them have got over 550 horsepower. Down to club, and it's Andy Rouse, Rob Gravett, Tim Harvey and Graham Good. Behind them it's Sean Walker, then it's Lawrence Bristow, Dave Brodie, John Cleland in the Vauxhall, 8th position, leading the 2 litres, ahead of Frank Sytner and Kurt Luby. There they are. Onto the chicane, Mark Hales and Nick Whale. He nerves Nick Whale, pushes him right off the course, up onto the curbing. That was a very brutal passing manoeuvre, but it seems to have worked. A very, very unhappy Nick Whale goes on his way again. Oh, into the pits. Here are the 2 litres. On the left is Frank Sytner, on the right is his teammate Kurt Luby. There's a slim chance for Frank Sytner to become the 1990 overall champion. That's Kurt Luby that's chasing us. But Frank Sytner must win the class, and Kurt Luby is harrying him. And it looks as though there aren't any orders in the BMW team. 26-year-old Kurt Luby on the left from Bolton, kart champion, Formula Ford champion. And there is Netton Lindgren and Chris Hodgetts. Chris Hodgetts in the 2-litre Ford Sapphire, nearly losing it. Trying to catch Netton Lindgren. But now Tim Harvey, Graham Good, Lawrence Bristow, Dave Brodie goes through, and Sean Walker, number 4. He was up into 4th place. He's obviously got a major problem driving in to retire. So, Harvey, Good, 3rd and 4th, Lawrence Bristow, 5th, Dave Brodie there in 6th position, and look at John Cleland in the 2-litre Vauxhall, ahead of, together, Sidner and Kurt Luby. BMW's going at it really hard. Now we're with Frank Sidner making some sort of a signal to Kurt Luby. Perhaps it is keep back, Kurt. I can win the championship if only I can get ahead of John Cleland. Down the club chicane. There's that signal again. But it's a signal to go through, and Kurt Luby moves up into 2nd position. Frank Sidner 3rd in the 2-litre class. Netton Lindgren is right behind him. So it's Vauxhall, BMW, BMW, BMW in the 2-litre class. Andy Rouse is still leading overall in the Ford Sierra. Luby ahead. Let's see if he can do anything about John Cleland's Vauxhall. And look at Netton Lindgren there. Sidner, Luby, Netton Lindgren behind them, John Cleland in front of them, and Netton Lindgren is definitely gaining on the 2 BMWs. And that is Ian Flux, another BMW M3. Flux has spun off. He's scrambling to find wheel grip now to get back onto the tarmac and into the race. Luby and Sidner still battling for 2nd place in the 2-litre class. Luby's got it at the moment. No, he hasn't, because Frank Sidner goes through and retakes the 2nd place he lost. But John Cleland in the front-wheel drive Vauxhall is still ahead. Netton Lindgren is still in 4th position. In 5th place in the 2-litre class, it's Markus Österreich. That's the German driver in the Vauxhall Cavalier. And look at Kurt Luby in the white BMW. He's weaving about all over the place, and Netton Lindgren has gone through. It looks to me as though Kurt Luby's got a puncture. He slowed right down. So there is Chris Hodgetts, number 51, and into the pits comes Kurt Luby, and sure enough, left rear puncture. And the ProDrive team mechanics leap onto it. Up on the jacks, off goes the old wheel, on goes the new one. Kurt Luby sitting there impassively, waiting to get away, and look at that old tyre. Kurt Luby goes out, 14.1 seconds. He came in 8th, he's gone out 17th. And Dave Brodie is touring. The man who's making a comeback to the British Touring Car Championship was in 6th place, now touring into the pits. Rotten luck for Brodie, and that is Frank Sidner behind him. So that's both the BMW Works cars in. Kurt Luby's been in and gone out. There is Brodie, here is Sidner, and it's another left rear tyre look. Whoops, Chuck Nicholson, number 53, Chuck Nicholson, the ex-Jaguar driver. Having a go at touring car racing, finding his limits the hard way, back into the race. And Frank Sidner's wheel change is almost completed. It is completed. We're with him. He blasts out of the pit lane, leaving Dave Brodie there, down to 16th place. And that's put an end to Frank Sidner's chances of being overall champion in 1990. Dave Brodie rejoins. Tyre damage, real damage, and it looks like a choice of the wrong compound. John Cleland in the Vauxhall Cavalier, a commanding lead in the 2-litre class. And with Frank Sidner effectively out of the race, that means that Rob Gravitt has almost certainly won the 1990 British Touring Car Championship overall. He's only got to finish. Andy Rouse leads. Rob Gravitt well behind him now in 2nd place. Tim Harvey is 3rd. Lawrence Bristow is in 4th position. Graham Good is 5th. And John Cleland in 6th place in the 2-litre Vauxhall Cavalier. Now we're with Lawrence Bristow, 4th position, out of the complex. Campbell, Cobb and Seagrave exit Seagraves, now on his way to Noble, the fast left-hander, chasing the car ahead of him, soon to take him into the apex. No, he's not into the apex, he's off the course. Over the infield to a standstill, and Lawrence Bristow out. For what reason, I do not know. Bristow walks away from the car. Not at all happy with it, obviously, and Andy Rouse is calmly now pacing himself in the lead to his 4th victory. 13 laps completed into lap 14. And now we're looking back from Rob Gravitt's car at Tim Harvey, number 3, 3rd position, and closing up on the White Sierra of the champion-elect Rob Gravitt. There's Harvey. And he's going past on the inside, up into 2nd place. And that in the background, incidentally, is Frank Sintner, rejoined in the BMW M3. We're with Gravitt now. Tim Harvey in front, and into the pits comes Cleland. John Cleland, 6th in the race, leading the 2-litre class. This is incredible. Luby in trouble, Sintner in trouble. Now Cleland in trouble, and that means to say that Netton Lindgren has gone through into the lead of the 2-litre class. And this looks pretty terminal to me. Steam from inside the bonnet, yes. Pushing the Vauxhall away, so Cleland is out. Now, what's the problem?
I thought it was a puncture. As I came into the chicane there was a sudden vibration. Just as I changed down, back on the power, and I thought it was maybe a tyre. It would appear that it's dropped some oil, so looks like that's that.
Well, if he's dropped some oil, that certainly is that for John Cleland, but it's not for Netton Lindgren. Look at this, leading the 2-litre class. Right behind her, in the leaping Ford Sapphire, it's Chris Hodgetts. Just behind him is Marcus Erstreich. But there is the race leader, Andy Rouse, on his way to his 4th victory. Now, his problem in 1990 has been tyres. Not the car, not the driver. And there, Tim Harvey going through in 2nd position. Big gap between him and Andy Rouse now. And Rouse coming up to lap Ian Forrest in the red and white BMW. He's in 8th place, so that shows you how quickly Rouse has been driving. Number 1, 1st position. Round 12 of the championship. Rouse is 4 times British champion himself, but he's not going to be this year. That's the man who looks as though he's going to be. Rob Gravitt, number 11, 3rd in the race, on target for the championship. But now the 2-litre class, 1st, 2nd and 3rd are together. Lindgren, Hodgetts, Erstreich, BMW, Ford, Vauxhall. Into the last lap but 1, lap 19 out of 20, up to Allard at 100 miles an hour and out of it. Now onto the complex, down into 2nd gear for Campbell, the right-hander, 65 miles an hour, and Chris Hodgetts tries for 1st place. Netton Lindgren shuts the door in his face. Hodgetts loses momentum. Erstreich closes up. Lovely bit of driving by Netton that was. Perfect tactics. Now, round Noble. 3 cars, there is nearly 900 horsepower there. Out of Goodwood at 125 miles an hour. Then Church. Here it is, that's the corner where there used to be a very nasty bump. That's been mostly ironed out. Onto Brooklands. Still, the men, Hodgetts and Erstreich, can do nothing about the gallant Swedish housewife in front of them. But my goodness, they're trying. You'll notice that Netton Lindgren is sitting on the left-hand side of the car. Hodgetts and Erstreich on the right, into the last lap. Terrific pressure on Netton Lindgren now, up round Allard for the last time. And Andy Rouse is almost home for that 4th win. Out of the club chicane for the 20th time to see the checkered flag, to take it and to win. And Tim Harvey finishes 2nd in the Blue Sierra, but this is Rob Gravitt. He's going to be third, 8 times a winner, 8 pole positions, 9 fastest laps, 4 record laps, and that is supremacy. But this is the battle for the 2-litre leadership on their last lap, and it's still Netton Lindgren leading, it's still Chris Hodgett second, it's still Österreich in third position, as on the fastest part of the course, nearly 130 miles an hour. They come out of the right-hander and down to the club chicane for the last time, and Chris Hodgett is closing, he's trying to take her on the outside, and he spins. Tries too hard. Österreich goes up into second place. Chris Hodgett rejoins. Well, it was a good try, but it didn't succeed. Netton Lindgren wins the class. Marcus Österreich is second, and Chris Hodgett comes in third. But what a wonderful drive by the Swedish woman, Netton Lindgren.
Netton Lindgren coming good late in the season, too late to challenge the overall champion Rob Gravitt, who at last gave Ford the success previously denied by the vagaries of the championship scoring. Frank Sittner for BMW, 30 points back in second. That left one more round at Silverstone, the last fling for the Class A Ford RS 500s before the competition goes wholly 2-litre next year. For the last time, Gravitt headed the thundering Ford charge down to the first corner. But a few yards behind, the 2-litre cars were emphasising once again the level of competition we're in for next year. John Cleland sliding in front of Frank Sittner, and on board with Sittner, flanked by Cleland on the left and Jeff Allam on the right. Frantic action around Maggots and Beckett's, from which the bold Cleland, going outrageously wide, emerges the worst. And it only took the length of the club straight to be back up with Sittner and Allam, and then the door banging started all over again around Brooklands and Bridge Bend. In theory, this is what we're in for next year via the involvement of half a dozen or more of the sport's top manufacturers. But at Silverstone, Cleland was hounding Allam into a mistake. Allam on the grass at Copse, Cleland follows him, but keeps the momentum going to take the lead, only to be challenged within a couple of more laps by the class champion Sittner. Sittner sweeps ahead, but doesn't get away from Cleland, who's back in front a couple of corners later. Two fierce rivals from the past season. They almost came to blows after the Birmingham round, but they have a great respect for each other. And Sittner mounted a final challenge on the last few corners of the championship.
I had a go on the last lap in front of the BRDC clubhouse and the grandstand, and I went as far as you can go. It was a perfectly good overtaking manoeuvre. John retaliated in all the correct ways. He knows exactly what he's doing, and I could easily have got through. It was worth a try.
Sums up a very good year, and a very good year in the inaugural 2-litre championship. How much have you enjoyed it in general? Well,
what you've just said, there's no doubt about that. Again, it just proves what a good formula it is. It's been fantastically enjoyable. It was really very frustrating. Now, I'd just like to go back out there and run that race all over again. That's how exciting it is.
That's the future, but the Ford Sierras were also showing how exciting they could be in their final Class A championship appearance. This is Tim Harvey and Graham Good fiercely contesting third place. Side by side they battled it out. Contact that would rip out Harvey's tyre valve and give Graham Good his top 3 finish. But at this point it's Harvey in front, heading for a puncture and a pit stop. And it was appropriate that up front Rob Gravitt and Andy Rouse should contest the final unrestricted Sierra battle. Gravitt behind. Tim Harvey by this point has made his pit stop and rejoined as a back marker. But Gravitt is set for his 9th win of the season thanks to a bold overtaking manoeuvre at Brooklands. Outstanding championship success for Gravitt and his Trackstar team, plagued by a shortage of backing for much of the season, but never suffering from a shortage of determination.
It's been a long season and it hasn't been easy. The other guys, they're very, very quick. Andy doesn't give any way, Tim doesn't give any way, and it's it's good. Makes good TV, I think.
Yeah. Now the championship goes into a new era, and presumably Trackstar goes into that new era with the championship.
That's right, we're going into a 2-litre championship now, which I think will be good because the car that crosses the line in theory will be the car that could win the championship. We're looking at a number of manufacturers now, and by the end of this month hopefully we'll have come up with a manufacturer that we think that can win, and then we have to go into a fairly large intensive development programme, but hopefully for March next year then we'll be back with a competitive car. I want to be at the front if I can.
The final standings of the 1990 SO British Touring Car Championship, a transition year towards that 2-litre formula, and next year more manufacturers and heightened competition, a very exciting prospect for British saloon car racing.